wow.
There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shunting Yard. My name's Hilton, and this is Dan, the usual terror in the chat. And this evening, we are joined by the amazing Jack and Johnny of Scottrail fame. I'm so excited about the stream because it is something that's a little bit close to my heart, obviously. And to have two Scotsmen with us this evening just makes it 10 times better. So I'm really excited. Dan, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, not too bad. I've got a cup of tea, so we're all good.
Is that Maud?
It is Maud.
Did you make that for the stream?
It's actually far worse than that. I didn't have it made for the stream. I actually had a box of like 10 of them made about a decade ago, and loads of people bought them off me. I ended up with like 3 or 4 of them left over. And yeah, I thought they were in storage, but luckily I managed to find this one. So yeah, continue Maud week, everybody.
Johnny, how are you, man? Good to have you.
I'm good. I'm loving the rebrand. I definitely think if we go full mod, I'm up for it.
I think next time, Maud week should be a fundraising effort in order to get that bit damaged bottom end done, so that you can outrun me again. Yeah.
Jack, welcome.
Yeah.
How are you, man?
Oh, thank you. It's pleasure to be here, and I think likewise we need to make this 2 weeks next year. Scottrail for 1 week and Mod week for the other. You know, why not?
Yeah, double it up. Absolutely, completely agree with you.
I'll run out.
Right, so I'm going to do my usual thing. I don't know, given that it is a special week for Scottish Railways. Is anyone drinking anything special? Dan?
Yeah, tea from a Maud mug. The mug alone makes it special.
All right, nothing special there. Johnny, yourself, what are you drinking?
Well, going to be the stereotypical Scotsman, Iron Brew. Some of us are working tomorrow.
That's the like the classic version of it, right?
Yeah. Oh, I had to go classic tonight.
Honestly, when I had that in Scotland, that stuff is 10 times better than the normal one, in my opinion.
There's no cheaping out here.
You know, you have to show the logo in order to get the sponsorship deal.
And we showed the other side of the can for next year already. Scottrail.
Iron Brew.
I had to teach him how to use Instagram layouts last year. I think getting sort of one step at a time and getting the logo in the right place.
Okay. Jack, what are you drinking?
I'm going again classically Scottish, but for a nice Scottish Borders whiskey.
Lovely, good stuff, man. I'm glad I'm not alone on the whiskey tonight. I am having a little bit of Tamnavulin. So, guys, exciting stuff. I think let's just get the news out of the way for the week, and then we can dig into all the good Scottish stuff. So let's jump straight into the news. It's a wee bit different this week.
Yeah, did a West. Nice.
Okay, so following on from last Thursday's live stream, we all knew there were some big announcements coming last Friday. And I think a couple of people predicted this, but it's really cool to see the Southern Railway get the black label treatment. I'm a big fan of spam cans. If there's one logo I like from the South, it's definitely the spam cans. These look absolutely amazing. They're close to 400 quid though, so they're not a cheap adventure. But there's a variety of liveries on offer, and I think they look pretty damn impressive. Those wheels, the casting on those wheels looks absolutely mint. So would any of you guys be interested in one of these?
Not my thing. Far too modern for me.
Fair.
I suppose if you put Stanley or Tender behind one, I might consider it.
That would be a good shout. I was going to say, did one of them make it to Scotland during the exchange trials?
Yeah, was it Yeovil, I think? Somebody will correct me at some point during this. But one of them was over the Highland Main Line.
All the places to take it. Oh. I have an anecdote about the Highland Main Line, but I've been told no anecdotes tonight. So carry on, Hill.
All right, Jack, you wouldn't be interested in one of these?
No, not for me. I'm sure it'll please a lot of people, but not for me.
Fair enough.
It's a hard no across the board.
So that's
In
4
all my
no's.
excitement, yeah, exactly.
That's
Basically,
4 no's.
in all my excitement of this, I've completely forgotten the chat. I'm so sorry, guys. I really didn't mean to. I just want to greet a couple of people. Rob is here, hiding in the wings. Hello, Rob. Actually, let me just hide this for now, so that I don't put content over somebody's face. So yeah, Rob's here. Derek, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Tom Marshall from Buggles Kelly, he is here. I'll be here for a bit before the pub and hopefully after if you're still going. We'll see how it goes. We've got a lot to cover tonight. So
That's a flying visit to the pub.
just a drive-by.
Is it going to be like Grandpa Simpson, just like walking in, like literally drops the coat, does a twirl, picks up the coat, and leaves?
We've got Bill. Good evening, Bill. What are you drinking? I know you're having a dram this evening. Would love to know. Phil's here. Double M Dave. Ollie is here. Hello, Ollie. Thunderblade 989 is in the chat.
And so it begins.
Lucas is here. What's up, man? Harry is alive. Good to see you, Harry. It's been a while since you were on the stream last, so good to have you back, man. Charlie's in the chat. Hello, Charlie. Matt's here. Hello, Matt. Who else we got? Aaron from New Zealand. Good morning, Aaron. Hope you're doing well. Good luck with your day. James is late. And also, James is lazy and he doesn't want to join us.
That's always going to be the highlight of the week.
Tom is answering your question, Dan. We've moved very near to a village pub, has become the alternative to cooking dinner recently, plus beer. So that makes sense. So
that's a shame, because I was about to put forward a theory that that's how he's going to catch up on his painting before he discontinues the service. Just like literally a pub pit stop, then straight back to go and paint all those little Mrs. Kindly's cottages. And just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just get them out. Get them out. I don't want to paint things anymore.
Robbie Grant says, Johnny!
Oh,
he obviously knows you.
the bonus lot are here, Len. Excellent.
Is that Fernando Alonso?
I hope it's not Lance Stroll, that's for sure. Yeah, it's Alonso.
No, if it was Lance Stroll, he'd be in the kitty litter. But I suppose we shouldn't talk about Formula One drivers in front of Scotsmen because they have the most important Formula One driver to their name. So, you know.
Well, Jackie Stewart.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Okay,
all of them would have died if it wasn't for Jackie. Moving on.
Every Scotsman, are you saying? Not just Formula One drivers.
No, all the Formula One drivers would just be dead.
Scotland would have been dead without Jackie Stewart. Why aren't there more monuments to Jackie Stewart? Bill is having Macallan tonight. Brilliant. Good choice, my friend. Okay. Right. Okay. We've got a lot to get through. So I'm going to do my best to navigate chat and everything else we're doing. Back to the news. Okay. And then Kerno have announced this 31 through Bakhmut. It's one of their exclusives. Cricklewood can't knock a 31, to be fair. I think they're fantastic. So, and this is a really nice looking livery. Fairly basic, but I think a nice addition to some Southern collections, right? Then we've got a new announcement from Dapple. This was interesting. I mean, Dapple do some weird announcements in general, but I was like, okay, cool. Matchbox, Meccano, Dinky, Mamod. I'm sure it'll appeal to someone. Certainly not me.
I'm just thinking down at Margate, they probably want to put Corgi on one of their box fans to retaliate.
I mean, without diverging too much, has anybody seen any sales figures for these sort of branded wagons? You know, because they must be worth doing if that's another round coming out.
Absolutely. I think the novelty aspect of these is just so appealing. Like if you particularly like one brand, I would buy, I think we spoke about this on a stream a couple weeks ago, like I would buy a Hot Wheels van just because it's a Hot Wheels van. So yeah, it's got to
depend on the manufacturing as well. I mean, it depends how they're making them. They could, I mean, because I know the they've moved quite some more production to the UK, so there might be small batch, small run stuff. So
absolutely, yeah. No, fair point, Jack. Fair point. Okay, we got new images of Hornby's J52, which is I think due sometime in the second or third quarter of this year, which is very cool. Maybe it's a bit later. I'm not sure actually. And then we've got some new images of the Railway's 200th anniversary train pack. Again, thank you to Rails of Sheffield for providing us with all of our news. Once again, thanks, Jack.
When is this
sponsorship deal being announced?
We're waiting. We're ready to sign. To be fair, this is like not news because we've seen all of these models before. So I guess cool that they're being shown off together. But yeah, anyways, production samples of the buck jumpers are on the way, which is really cool. I actually had one of these on order and I decided to cancel it just because I could not justify adding it to the West Highlands. But I don't know if any of you guys planning on getting one of these?
I haven't ordered one, but I am tempted by one. I don't know if any of you have seen the Lauder branch that used to exist, and it ended up being one of these J69s with a J36 tender hooked behind it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am tempted there, but then that means purchasing another J36 just for the tender, and you see my dilemma.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I'd just add this because it was so cool that Rails of Sheffield included your hashtag on one of their posts. There it is down in the corner, Scotch Rail. I thought it was really decent of them. So it seems like a couple of the manufacturers are jumping on board with Scotch Rail Week, which is just really exciting for you guys because it's your effort and you guys have put that together. So well done, lads.
Important question: have you both got this on order?
I do. I've got a few of the North British ones on order.
Oh, excellent.
Nice.
I don't know about Johnny though, because I think we're kind of ending up splitting the kind of liveries between us.
Yeah, I've not got any in order yet, only because I'm trying to weigh up which ones I need to order. I don't want to overdo it, but at the same time, I do have plans of breaking into the pre-grouping scene, unfortunately, for my wallet.
That's not unfortunate. That is really fortunate. I can't wait to see pre-grouping stuff with your level of photography.
Dan's about to take his pants off at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? 12 good pictures. We have a calendar.
What time's
That's actually a great idea. Yeah, you sip that iron bread, Johnny. Then we've got these 4Ds kits. I actually didn't read all about this. Rob just sent me a link and I was like, okay, cool. Put an image here. Dan, maybe you can enlighten us on these.
I have no idea. I gather it's a Sirdar, a short tank Sirdar kit to go on a Backman Quarry Hunslet in 7mm.
That sounds brilliant. Well done. You see, you did know. Well done. Good job.
I'm just waiting for you to get to the piss tankers. Sorry, the ammonia nitrate tankers.
Pants off already.
Wow.
Dan, do you have pants on this evening?
Maybe have a kilt on. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe there's nothing under the kilt. Who knows?
The images I do not have in my head right now.
Well, that's why you're here, Jack. I'm afraid. Sorry. That's what you put yourself into. Right, and then I think the final little bit of news was that this LSWR livery was rejected by Rapido. How could they? Shocking. Dan?
I don't know, but you did forget these. You forgot the ammonia nitrate tankers, of which there's a Scottish one.
You know, when I said earlier today, is there any news I need to get hold of? And
sorry, I was working.
Responded to me.
Oh no!
Thank you.
We can cover them next week. It's fine.
All right.
I was waiting for you to cover the Rapido stuff because I had a book all lined up to pretend to read.
Jumping back to the chat quickly. RJ, how's it going, man? Are you doing well? Nice of you to join us so early in the evening. You're usually a bit later. Okay, guys, talking about the buck jumper. Thunderblade 989 has ordered the BR Blue one, so good for you, mate. Charlie says, I'd like a buck jumper, however, a bit cash strapped at the moment. I absolutely feel you, Charlie. I cannot justify new purchases right now. Ollie says, Hilton, since you're a Scottish model, you should get a GWR 1600 pannier. 2 of them were allocated to Scotland in the 1950s. I am aware of this. I have been keeping an eye on Model Rail's website. I know that they're available there, and I'll do it at some point. But thank you for that. Good shout.
To be fair, they worked on the east coast of Scotland, not the west, so you can kind of get away with it that way. You don't have to.
I mean, I like anything that's gone north of the border. To be fair, Tom's
you do need a buck jumper.
Okay, crap. Tom, good evening. He says, Green Caledonian single. It's not Henry, Tom. And then let's see. Johnny, working in the morning must be a rare appearance.
Oh, no. Mind that story I was telling you about when we were doing the mic test about flirting with my missus? That's him.
Got you.
You. We'll go into that later.
That's the guy, huh? That's the guy. All right. All right. Let's move on to ScotRail 2025. First of all, I think it would probably be best for one of you to tell us what exactly ScotRail is. So I open the floor.
Jack?
I mean, it really kind of started about a year, coming on a year ago now, and just over a year ago. Johnny and I had spoke to Andy at Model Rail Scotland in February 2014, and like you see online, there's a lot of general kind of chat about Great Western LMS, LNER, but there wasn't really anything that got across Scottish railway modelling. What was happening in Scotland? What were people doing in Scotland? To get a sense of kind of what the market was wanting to do. So that's really where the kind of idea started. That, well, why don't Johnny and I we could do a kind of a social media week, build it around not just model railways but railways in general, the modern scene, steam scene, past, present, future. And first year was pretty successful for our first go. This year's going extremely well, organically grown, and that's really the fundamentals of it.
So you say that this year's going better. What is the thing that surprised you so far this week that you feel, is there anything that you've seen that you've achieved this week that you wouldn't have expected?
I honestly, I think it would be the kind of the manufacturer engagement from Rapido certainly picking up, thanks to them, and as well Rails, and we've got you to thank for that, Dan. That's I think kind of one of the next steps that we would have probably hoped to have got last year, but we're getting now. That engagement from the industry, we can only grow that from here.
So
presumably,
and it is
amazing, honestly.
So presumably your next step is to get the retailers on board, to get some Scottish retailers under your umbrella for the week.
Yeah, I think probably the natural progression of this, I mean, I say natural, we will have to have input in it, will be to sort of reach out to the retailers and manufacturers and see what can we push forward from the modelling side. From the heritage side, and maybe even the likes of ScotRail and such, what can we be doing to advertise events or just advertise that this railway is here? And likewise, we're trying to massively push people out of cars and onto trains up here. And how can we make the railway seem a bit more engaging and a bit more friendly? And it's through sort of social media campaigns now. And so to try and get involved in this sort of way, make it seem like it's this big friendly family, which it is, but sometimes we're not the best at putting it across.
Sure.
I've heard about this incentive to get people out of their cars. I've heard something about an average speed check all the way along the A9.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's been in for the last sort of 10, 15 years now, admittedly. It's when I got told this week that all the 40 mile an hour zones are going to 30 in Edinburgh, and all I can think about is my commute getting longer.
Well,
That's unfortunate.
So, go on
I
trains,
must say,
guys.
yeah, absolutely. Go on trains. When I was up there last year, I couldn't believe the amount of traffic. A, in the West Highlands, and B, the Isle of Skye doesn't have a railway, but good lord, there was a traffic jam on the Isle of Skye, and it was just a nightmare, absolute nightmare. So yeah, get on trains, do more of that, please. So you guys have had a very successful ScotRail 2025, and thank you very much, Johnny and Jack. You guys put together a couple of news slides for us just to go through regarding what's happened in the last year in Scottish Railways, which is really cool. So we'll go through the manufacturers, and then we'll touch on some real world stuff. So Hornby, latest releases of the North British J36. That beautiful BR green color. Absolutely love that. Still hoping to get one myself. Have either of you two picked one up yet?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I said to myself I wasn't going to do it, especially because I repainted one for a friend about 2 years ago, and so I'd already had my fix, but I have a severe fear of missing out
Yeah.
sort of attitude, and so I went, I'll have one now, why not?
That's brilliant. Okay, so good stuff. We've got Loch Rannoch coming in TT120, and I might just enter the world of TT120 as a result. I won't lie, more 37s is never a problem. Bachmann, various Scottish Region 1 Mark 1s delivered. Rerun of Mark 2 DBSO and ScotRail livery announced. ScotRail liveried LMS inspection saloon. Graham Farish Mark 2s and ScotRail liveries. And Members' Day to be held at the Bowness and Kinneil Railway on the 20th of September. Are you guys, I know you can't say anything, even if you might know something, but are you expecting some kind of announcement? Hopefully.
I mean, I would hope so. You would like to think that if Bachmann are coming north of the border to do a member special, that they're looking north of the border for their latest announcements. That would be my hope. Yeah.
Okay.
I think when you look at Swanage last year as well, they had the Members' Day there, and you had the T3 from EFE announced. So one can only hope there's something coming from this.
All right. Well, fingers crossed, lads. We're on a bit of a roll with Scottish models lately. So if we can keep up that momentum,
if the marketplace is like usual, it'll be a second J36.
At a more expensive price. Cool, awesome. Looking forward to it. All right, Rapido. All right, they, I think, have been really championing Scottish things lately. Congratulations, Dan. You're a very... There we go. Yes, the Highland Jones has finally arrived. I think everyone's really happy with the Jones goods.
Hang on, which one is it, though, Dan? Is that 113?
No, it's the green one. It's the green one. I really like the green one.
Are there two green ones?
Yeah, but not the Drummond livery one. The Jones green one.
Okay. Yeah, I need the Drummond one. Trying to get a hold of them right now.
The Drummond one to me looks kind of weird because it's not got the boards on either side of the smoke box, so it loses that iconic look of the class. Yeah. And it looks a bit like a light bulb if you look at it from, face on, because it has that narrow and then it goes like that, So it's a bit fugly, really.
It is a bit, but unfortunately, that's a livery that my Ben's going to go into as well. So, I need a matching pair.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So which versions did you guys pick up? Because I'm assuming you both got multiple variants.
I just got the preserved. Sound fitted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Drained my wallet enough.
Jack, you?
Likewise, it was the same. It was the one I saw growing up in the museum in Glasgow, so that was the natural choice.
Makes sense, yeah. I think it is a very striking, margarine color. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful, and it really is like a standout.
I just realised I've got the green one, and all of you three have all got the mustardy one.
It's because you're an anorak, Dan. It's because you're an anorak.
You know what? I had the mustardy one on order. I was going to have two originally. I was that taken with it, but I was just like, it's something that's not actually relevant to what I do. But I've felt that much of a bond with it because that's what I use to go and work out the standard layout for the sound sets for Rapido going forward. Yeah. And sort of experimenting with where to put all the functions and so on. But I kind of just fell for it a bit. It's a very charming machine. But yeah.
Oh, and how was the commute to pick it up, Johnny?
I am just being.
I take it this is your better half.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we were on holiday and I decided to do about a 4-hour detour to go and pick it up. And again,
Wow.
not to plug, retailers too much, but it was Tony's Trains of Rugby. I had on pre-order the non-sound fitted version, just DCC ready, because again, I don't manage to run stuff here much. And then when I went in, I was like, "Oh, how are they selling?" Well, we've got 1 sound left and 2 normal. I'll take the sound, please, before they sell out. So yeah,
wow.
I have no self-control.
It's fine. I put lots of hard work into that, so I hope you like it.
It's just being supportive, isn't it, Dan? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. We
just
all
so you know,
support you, Dan.
In future, if you are indecisive, you can buy the decoders on their own from Repeater.
Oh yeah.
After the fact. So if you want to upgrade in future.
Sure. All right, moving on. Jones Goods done. Thank you very much. More of that, please, Dan. And as we see, we're getting the 1, 2, 3. So looking forward to that. Hopefully next year. I think we're all pretty stoked about that. Cali Diagram 67 vans delivered. The Evolution coaches, Highland, Caledonian, and North British, which is very cool. I think we're all pretty fired up about those. LMS 12-ton vans and BR fish vans. So Repeater really have been doing the Lord's work for Scottish stuff, which I appreciate. Akira Scale, incoming Scottish Region Mark 1 coaches. I think, aren't they out? Or am I wrong?
I think they're still incoming, if I remember rightly, because the Suburban ones, I think for Scotland, had lining on them. And we've not seen those ones physically land yet. I don't believe so, anyway.
Yeah, I think it's the
I'm getting
ones
mixed
and
up.
the BR Blue. They're the ones that arrived, and Maroon was always kind of following on.
Okay, I got you. We got the livery sample for the SRPS exclusive 37403 Isle of Mull. That is the one loco this year that I cannot wait for. As soon as it was announced, I was like, cool, let me go and just give them my money. To be honest, they could take £100 more if I'm supporting a good cause. So I don't mean that seriously. Like, I do have limits.
Your scale just adjusting their figures now.
Right then. There's a ton of Scottish 37s on the way from Akira Scale towards the end of the year too. And then ex-Hatton's Class 66s, including Scottish regulars, land. Cool. This is so comprehensive. I wish you could do the news for me every week.
It was a nightmare putting a summer list together. So
I can imagine. I can honestly imagine. Right.
That's when you forgot the breakdown.
You want to make the announcement, Dan?
Yep. What's that? Ammonia tanks, brake van. What else we missed tonight?
To be fair, the ammonia tank was on 48 hours before you put that out. Yeah. Which is, you can include it in next year's because it'll be delivered in next year's. So yeah, that'll work. And the same with the brake van. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. What we don't want is ScotRail 2026. All these slides being empty. We've got to save something for then.
Will they be empty? Will they really be empty? Who knows?
All right, I'm gonna because you are a working man in the industry, Johnny. I'm gonna get you to do this one for us, please.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now we get to see what I don't know. So I guess you want me to read these out, Lynn?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Cool.
I want you to read them out.
So some of the biggest stuff that's happened up here in the main line in the last 12 months, I think. Cross country have withdrawn the direct Aberdeen to Penzance service. Again, I think there used to only be about 2 trains a day either way, and now I think it goes only as far as Dundee and then Plymouth. So you now can't get from one end of the country to the other in one train.
Wow.
So that's a bit of a end of an era there. Network Rail completely Kilbride electrification. This is a ongoing thing in Scotland right now. Is we've sort of realised that it's quite expensive to do an electrification project, stop it, lose all the manpower and the skills and that for 5 years, and then announce a new electrification project, and then have to try and train up a whole load of new people again. So as they're sort of doing small chunks at a time. So East Kilbride has just been completed and reopened at this timetable change. And likewise, they're continuing to electrify up to the Forth Bridge at Dalmeny, because there's a bigger scheme to electrify part of the Fife Circle and use it as sort of half battery power, half overhead lines. So that's part of Network Rail's ongoing infrastructure. For us at ScotRail, I think the biggest one, even though I've put a second there, is we've done a trial of peak fare removals, so just off peak only for the whole day. And then suddenly we stopped it, and 6 months later we've announced that it's going to be permanent. We will bring it back. So there's been a bit of to and fro in there. I think some of that has been political will, but at the same time that should be, again, helpful for the agenda of getting people off the roads and onto the rail. We just need to make sure, as a train operating company and also Network Rail and such, that we have the supply there to meet any demand that does come over. So that'll be interesting to see. The Class 153s, which I don't know, do you have one, Hilton, yet?
The Highland Adventurer.
Yeah, the bicycle one.
Yeah. I've got one. It's a piece of shit, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's a terrible one.
Yeah.
So I think I'll get the Helgen one. But yeah.
Well, the real one then. So they trialled it a little bit last year, and that's them now put it on the Mallaig runs now. Up in the West Highlands, continuing again, the Glenfinnan Viaduct was having a restoration period, shall we say. In fact, it was quite well done, because all the scaffolding and such was on the north side of the viaduct. So if you were a tourist seeing it from the normal side, you wouldn't know there was any works going on. But they've spent about 8 months doing a bit of refurbishment, restoration, and it's just future-proofing the infrastructure for years to come. The LNE are unveiling the new East Coast Main Line timetable. It remains to be seen how this goes down, because there's cries of foul from one side and there's cries of hoorays for the other. There should be an increase of trains between Edinburgh and London. At the same time, there are some fears from local MPs and MSPs about it affecting sort of commuter trains. But it's looking to be one of the biggest recasts of the East Coast Main Line timetable we've seen in a few years. So a bit noteworthy there. DRS secure new Tesco flow. So again, direct rail services have been in the Tesco intermodals to Daventry for God knows how many years now. But again, this is just sort of the extension on that deal now, but with an extra flow in either direction per day. And then the last one, which might divide fans, West Coast Railways are continuing to use Aircon Mark IIs on the Jacobite.
Are they CDL compliant?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I was up there last week. They were all CDL fitted, but I'll bite my tongue about how much I say about it, but it's not what it used to be up there, which is such a pity.
Well, it's because Spark 2
What was it? What was it about the
so.
Mark Ones? Why are they so damn special?
Well, that's it, because they were definitely vintage feel, both inside and out, and it was one that like we have heritage mainline steam all over the country, but it was one of the few places that really felt, up until maybe about 5 years ago, that it could still be a proper step back in time. And so I've been speaking to a few other people about this, and it sort of seems to have coincided. The absolute inflation of the tourism industry up in the West Highlands, like you were saying, Hill, you could barely drive around anywhere now, coincided with these Mark IIs coming in. It's went from being this sort of rural highlands sort of area with steam running through it to suddenly almost a business-like venture.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
it kills a little bit of the magic for me personally, but at the end of the day, as long as it's providing to the local economy, I can't moan.
Yeah, I think it was so funny because when we went, I was so excited to take Annie and my cousin. They were with me for, well, my cousin was with us for a couple of days, and I was so excited to take them to the Glenfinnan Viaduct and to see the Jacobite. We had planned to take the train on the day, and then we decided not to after we saw the state of the windows. We were just like, we're not going to see anything out of these windows. And we eventually got to we followed the train and we got to the viaduct, and for about 1 kilometer each direction from the viaduct, there were just cars parked on the side of the road.
Yep.
And it really made it like, I don't know. Yeah. Like you said, it stole some of the magic, and it does feel like, I mean, I was swearing the whole time because I was just like, oh, look at all these tourists. They're ridiculous. Meanwhile, here we are from South Africa doing the exact same thing. But it is kind of sad because, like you say, it's got a certain magic to it, and it needs to be open and empty to have that magic to it, right? So, Ollie jumps in here. He says, as an NELPG member, I'm happy to say that our K1 62005 is about to return to service before the end of the month, and she will return to Jacobite services very soon. That is very cool news. Okay. Moving on. You're doing such a good job of this, Johnny. I'm gonna get you to. As was Jack. Let's get Jack to do it. Jack.
As you can see, there's some of the kind of small sort of views from the heritage railways kind of across Scotland. As you can see, Five Heritage Railway, which is based at Leven. I've got permission to use the Network Rail offices after the Levenmouth opening. I was on that line just a few weeks ago. Really looks spot on. They've done a fantastic job with it. Ayrshire Railway Preservation Group, which is based out Doon Valley Railway, they've coming up their 50th anniversary, so congrats to them. It's a long time since I've been down that way, but I always remember it's a very charming heritage centre, so absolutely one to visit if you can get down there. Same for the Keith and Duff Town. They've really kind of worked on the knack of being the whiskey line, the kind of reimagining of the whiskey line. So great to see they're introducing more kind of whiskey weekends and specials with their new coach, and a famously long-running overhaul up in the Cairngorm Mountains has been the funicular railway to get skiers and hill walkers and so on from the kind of base near Aviemore up to the top of the Cairngorms. Again, I think that's, as you can see there from the dates, but kind of 5 years that's been going on. So yeah, fantastic to see that coming back again.
Awesome. I must say that whiskey special sounds really cool. I like that. And then back to you, Johnny.
I thought that was supposed to be a secret.
What, the Cali tag repaid?
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be a secret.
Oh, no. We're sort of not wanting to share images out, but it's not a secret. We've never made it secret that it was going into Crimson. If anything, it was a bit odd because when I say we, it's more the royal we. I've only been down a few times helping with it. When Taylor and Rod, shout out to them, started stripping it back down, and 1 or 2 photographs of it being taken back to primer was put up on Facebook. Immediately, we had howls of people going, "Why are you removing the Caledonian blue?" Of which point we're like, "Where have you been the last 2 years? It's not been in blue anyway." But no. So everybody knows it's going into Crimson. Taylor sent me a couple of photographs today, and the rate at which he's lining the engine might be fully lined by the end of next week.
Wow.
So he is ploughing on with it. And again, shout out to Taylor, by the way, because he has been pretty much key behind a lot of these repaints that we've done this year. And I don't think he gets enough credit for it.
Right, shout out
Taylor Shaw, you're watching. I know that, so there you go. The only time I'm singing his praises. Likewise, so we've had a good run of galas at Bo'ness. So we had the Autumn Steam Gala where we had the Ivet from Midhands come up and visit, and that went quite well. And again, the winter, and just the weekend pass summer diesel galas at Bo'ness. SRPS Realtors, we finally returned to the main line this year. That's part of a partnership with Locomotive Services Limited. So we essentially use them as our main train operating company, although I should state not our only one. It's not like an exclusivity sort of deal. We still work with GBRF and such.
Right.
But basically, LSL have access to our coaches in return for we're getting a little bit of help with the overhaul program and the CDL workings. As far as I'm aware,
That's
anyway.
brilliant.
So, likewise, last year we had the return service of, while it's privately owned, it's pretty much a long-term resident at Bo'ness, standard tank 80105. The next thing, Jack should really talk about Lisbit quickly, is the rebrand of the SRPS. So if you want to take over from here.
Yeah, that was again kind of about a year ago, about the time we were kind of starting coming up Scott Trail. I've done bits of kind of graphic design the last couple of years for when I was doing various posters and so on. And I was asked, can you come up with a new roundel design, a kind of new logo design for the for the Rail Tour coaches? Because at that time they were wanting to move away from maroon, so of course it's been all crimson and cream now, with the SRPS Rail Tour's legend on the side. And so a few design iterations back and forth, and the kind of shots that you can see on screen, those roundels are the result of my efforts, fundamentally based on the BR coach roundel, but naturally updated with a line rampant to suit Scotland, and beyond just being applied on coaches by the tail end of last year, it's ended up as a kind of general rebrand of the society. So different colours for different aspects of the railway's operations: red for Rail Tours, blue for society, black for the museum, and then as a companion logo to the standard Bo'ness Kinneil Railway logo, a green version as well. So that's been a kind of real kind of labour of love the kind of past year or so, helping getting that over the line, and it's been like so far extremely well received, which I'm very pleased with.
Honestly, Jack, I think you can be so proud. It must be really cool to see that like come to life, because I don't know, I'm a big fan of like heraldry and logos and that sort of stuff. And you've done an amazing job, so you can be very proud of that, man. That's very cool. Very
thank
cool.
you. The kind of real kind of point at which it became real was kind of the point of the last kind of line at the bottom of the slide, and I'll nick this one from Johnny because it's a natural follow on. That at the Diesel Gala over the winter, we had a Class 66310, one of the Euro imports, named Bo'ness and Kinneil Railway, and my crest is on that loco's nameplate. I've got
That's amazing.
Indeed, out in the hall, I've got a third scale replica of the nameplates hanging up above the mirror. But that came through, I think, a couple of days before Christmas. I got heads up on that.
That is so cool.
So if you see it running about, I'm very small, I kind of say, because it's not. There's a lot of people behind that. I had really no input into that. There was a lot of other people, Alistair Eddington, Kev Adlam, and many others, too many to name, brought that to reality. So the congrats and thanks should go to them.
Well, all of you, team effort, well done, guys. It really is super cool. I think.
And if a Curoscale or Backman are listening, by the way, Jack would like one in below.
Yeah, I'll sign up for that.
If either of them come up with a 66310, you will get bank details, wallet, so all that straight away.
Firstborn child. Cool. Where were we? Signal box. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right. So another thing that we've been doing for the last few years is a slight redevelopment of Burke Hill, which used to be our terminus station. Now is sort of like a midway station on the line between Bo'ness and Manual. It has a loop, but it's not signalled. So a few years ago, put in the foundations for a second platform, put in a new footbridge. I cannot tell you 100% where the footbridge came from. I get a funny feeling it's either Break or Addywell. It was out that way.
I thought it was somewhere on the somewhere between Carstairs and Edinburgh. I thought it was that way. But anyway.
It might be that way. Yeah. Anyway, And then the ultimate idea for it is to allow true train running. So we're currently building a signal box, putting all the signaling in place to allow that. And that will allow for more intensive galas, a bit more flexibility in terms of realtor movements coming in and out the railway. And also, if you've ever looked at the likes of Keighley and Worth Valley, who on Sundays, I don't know if it's every Sunday of the month or just certain Sundays of the month, they'll run their vintage train to sort of supplement their usual standard service. And we have quite a lot of historic coaches, so it'd be quite nice to use them as a sort of supplement to our main service.
Absolutely.
So, about giving options.
Okay. Awesome. I think. Oh no, we got one more page. There we go. Strathspey. One of you two. You can you keep going. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Pick up like a baton in a relay race. So yeah, again, Strathspey kind of going kind of strength to strength at the minute. So of course we had the Black 5 a few years ago. Now we've had 46464, the Carmiley Pilot. Famously, I think one of the original locals in Strathspey, one of the opening ones. So again, it's great to see that second Ibit back. The two of them running together. Railway's also just completed an extension to its current terminus platform at Broom Hill. And again, ongoing development there with kind of more signalling, new signalling in Boat Garten, overhaul of their LMS inspection and officer saloon, and the Resident 37, again, having gone through a refresh of its Railfreight Red Stripe livery. So again, lots of activity going on up in the Highlands. And then the Caledonian Railway at Brechin, out near Montrose, for people who haven't managed to ever visit it. They're extending their series of summer music festivals. I suppose the only bit of bad news is they didn't get the Living Up funds they were kind of after. But again, that's a railway I have fond memories of as a kid visiting when we went up to Montrose to see friends. So again, great railways all across Scotland and definitely hives of activity.
I remember it as a kid as well, but I don't remember it being called Caledonian Railway. I remember it being called Brechin Railway at that time. Sure it used to be. It feels really disconcerting. It's like the whole the Mainline Steam Trust, when they called it the Great Central. It's like you're not really preserving that. It's like you kind of go there with that name thinking, oh, where's 828 or where's
where's 419? Yeah,
exactly. I remember thinking it's just like it's. You go there for an austerity, whereas you go to Bowness in my day to go and see Maud. But
and we're back to Maud. Let's go. Excellent.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back in the comments a little bit just because I need to catch up here. Charlie says Mark ones were what they used in the Harry Potter series. They want to sit in coaches like in the film. I don't think the complaint comes from the tourists, though, does it? Let's be honest.
Oh no!
Yeah.
If you want an entertaining evening, read TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
For the last few months.
To be fair,
that's all I'm saying.
To be fair, they weren't all compartment coaches. It was only the break coach that had compartments, and the rest of it was all open. So they weren't Harry Potter carriages anyway. Unless they had frosted windows with funny hands and go. So.
I think by the time you got running into October, you did.
Yeah.
All right. So
in fact, that's all that happened to the
impression.
Coach,
very good,
isn't it? You get the handprint on the window. It's like,
isn't that Titanic though?
Clearly not been down Fort William Yard. Anyway, let's move on.
Matt says that Potter Wizard has a lot to answer for.
Potter
says all those Harry Potter enjoyers want to sit in their own cabin, eat chocolate frogs, not sit in an SO with other muggles, right? Of course. I mean, it's such a double-edged sword, right? Because I think obviously it's done the world of good for tourism in the area and just small jobs and stuff like that. But like you guys say, it's like you can't have the good without the bad when it comes to the West Highland. It's unfortunately just becoming more and more popular. I couldn't believe in 10 years since I had last been just how crazy busy it was. It was nuts.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've been photographing up there for well over a decade now, and the rate of expansion in terms of the actual Jacobite season, and secondly the amount of tourists has been absolutely crazy. Like you used to be able to get a B&B up there for 4 nights for about £120, whereas trying to get a B&B for a night at that price now is impossible.
That's nuts.
I don't know. I always wonder if it's because part of it is the age. Like the people who used to watch Harry Potter and such when they were growing up are now at that age that they've got a disposable income. So they're all coming across now. But a lot of this tourism seems to have caught the Highlands of Scotland by surprise, because we've got all these people coming in, but we don't have the infrastructure to support it all. Very off topic from railways, but the North Coast 500 road, which was being sort of promoted for years, they're now totally abandoning it and telling people not to come because they can't support the amount of people driving along it.
Wow, that's actually crazy. Honestly.
Yeah.
Robbie Grant says Taylor thinks he's famous.
He's in all the group chats and now bigging himself up.
Cool. Derek says, was the Birkhill footbridge from West Calder?
Yes, because Taylor just texted me to correct me. I'm being corrected in real time if anything is said wrong, by the way.
Wow.
How many people could I upset by painting a 5700 in Caledonian blue, I wonder?
Do it.
Right, there you go. Do it for Scotch Rail.
Well, and a bit of an anecdote for you. At one point, the Iva at Strathspey was maybe going to go Calwy blue. Especially with 46464 returning to traffic, they thought, how could they differentiate it? So that Callum who messaged earlier, he's got a model here waiting for it to go into blue.
Wow. So, I would go with the Fairburn tank from the lakeside then.
Well, done exactly that for him as well, yeah. Yep.
Which did look rather good in its day.
Yeah.
Hello, I managed to find more recently in my local model shop goes well with
no
my
need to
CR828.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, people just keep talking about it. Honestly, thanks. I'm genuinely happy for you. That's great.
He says for
let me know if you find one.
This is the bit where he hit enter on the message before finishing and going, Hilton, if you wanted it, it'd be 20,000 Ugandan dollars plus shipping.
There you go. Hilton not having Maud is a fun running joke. Oh, I'm glad it's enjoyable.
Oh, wow.
Great.
The cruelty in the chat tonight.
I know, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal. All right, so
I felt quite sad earlier finding out that, when you put the reel came up on Instagram, and I was like, I'll share that to try and help. And then you shared my sharing of it, and you were like, if you can, if someone can help me find one. I was just like, we need to do this, guys.
Yeah,
you need to get one.
Me.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, shall we make this an objective tonight? Is that everybody watching, look out a mod for Hilton?
Yeah, and literally spam the chat with links to different ones for sale. Or if someone is bored of their mod, and I know it's impossible to be bored of mod, but if someone's bored of them or got two, be generous and offer it. Offer it to our resident South African.
What kind of person has two mods? I don't know anyone who has two mods. Johnny,
you didn't know me in February. That's why. Technically, I still do have two mods. I had 3 in February.
Ollie says, I like really oddball preservation liveries that they didn't wear in service. It makes them more diverse. There's a part of me that kind of agrees with that because it just does make things interesting. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know Dan would probably be like, oh, no. That's wrong.
Why would I be like that?
I don't, because it's you.
I like oddball liveries. Yeah. I can't wait for someone to own a Black 5 and have the initiative to put it in some of the liveries that were proposed at the beginning of BR. Because one of them went into Southern Malachite, one went into Apple Green, and I think there was one that was painted blue when BR couldn't settle on which colour to paint their engines.
Yeah.
So I think there was 4 of them were painted in really bizarre colors just for a very short period of time to kind of assess how they would look. But I've never seen it done in model form. Maybe that's something for you to do, Johnny.
Well, that's it. If you go back through my Instagram, and again, I'm going to dob him in it now. My mate Callum very much likes these oddball liveries, so I've done the Strathspey Austerity in layer version of Highland Railway green. Done the Ivet in maroon from Lakeside recently, the Cali Fairburn, the 2 Great Western Freight tanks at Paint and Dartmouth in green, which they never wore. So, some of the ideas he comes up with are imaginative, to say the least.
It's a very nice way of putting it.
You say the green that they never wore, though. Actually, one of their classmates did wear it for the cavalcade 100 years ago.
See, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
It's a valid livery.
There you go, Dan. That's one's for you.
Yeah, but that's a Jubilee, not a Black 5. They may look the same, but they're slightly different.
Would a Maud in pieces count? No, absolutely not.
Well, hang on. How many pieces and what's the problem?
I think you need a tender.
Tender going spare.
Yeah.
That's a tender going spare. Hang on.
There you go. I bet I can find one lying around the house.
I'm going to protect my precious now. Hang on.
Oh no.
Okay, all caught up on the chat there, guys. I think to sort of kick things off, let's just get a bit of history on you two and your journey in model railways. I'd love to know. I don't think everyone would. And I've found both of you through Instagram. I think both of you have contacted me separately, and we've chatted separately. But you both are pretty prolific modelers, and you're both very involved with the SRPS. So, Johnny, what's the deal with you? Tell us about yourself.
I don't think we've got a psychiatrist with enough time to unpack this. Well, so are we talking just model railways, or do we want the whole story?
I don't know. Summarize your railway life in 10 minutes.
So, pretty much born, got shoved down to Bowness as an infant, and continuously throughout Len. So, like Dan, grew up with mod in the 1990s, early 2000s, and that set a proper love for the engine in my heart. Being continually sort of surrounded by the railways to the point that I left school and went straight into employment on the railways. So I was a fitter with ScotRail, and then now a driver with ScotRail. As for the SRPS, been a volunteer with them for 18 years, mainly sort of in the steam shed, but also the last sort of 10, 11 years organising and running photo charters as a way of sort of raising funds and helping support galas and visiting engines and such. And for the modelling, it was a COVID thing, really. I had a cabinet with about 12 engines in. It was mainly sort of engines I'd seen or been out doing photography with, or, done a bit of work on. And then COVID hit, and I really had this drive I want to keep doing photography, but we can't go out and do it. And so I started building Dunfermline with the aim of, I can take some pretty pictures on that. And for some reason, I seem to have expanded from about 12 to 16 engines to now about 120. And 4 dioramas sitting around the place. So
I know how that works. Don't worry, I get that. I'm very relatable. Very relatable.
It's a problem, basically. So I like how we use the word railway modeler. I'm very, very much a niche. I think I'm sort of a model railway photographer. I'll build stuff, or I'll weather stuff, or design stuff just for specific photographs. Whereas I don't run trains.
But I think that's modeling. It is. And honestly, I struggle to tell some of your photos from model to the real thing. They are outstanding. We'll look at some of those photos later. But you do incredible dioramas, mate. Really, and the photography. Well done.
Oh no! Cheers. Cheers.
Jack, what about you?
A very similar start to the story. Again, was born a certain blue engine captured imaginations, and Bonus became a continuing theme.
Is that
throughout.
419?
One extra driving wheel, two less bogey wheels.
Thomas the Tank.
Yeah, it started there. As it, I think for many people it does.
Blue bastard.
So much to answer for.
Welcome to the watershed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, it has just gone 9 o'clock. And Mum and Dad would very much probably describe it as an affliction. But the amount of places we've been in the world, and there's had to be some sort of railway feature. From the Durango and Silverton Railroad in Colorado, the picture you can see here is the edge of the promontory. Some
Yeah,
of
I noticed it.
Was there in 2011. So really, it's been an origin point of Bo'ness that's expanded and infected much of my family life. But that's really what. So I've always kind of had models growing up as a kid, and there was always something on the Christmas list that came from a red box or a blue box at the local model shop, and at least the closest one to is in Glasgow. Really didn't kind of get overly serious in the kind of the detailing and the modelling kind of side of things. Again, kind of COVID sort of time, and I've not got space really here in where I live for kind of too many dioramas and layouts and so on. So it's the kind of thing where I can have a detailing project like the J36 I posted earlier on, or the Mayflower conversion I did tail end of last year. And that's the sort of thing I've really been able to kind of work on a bit more over the kind of last 2, 3, 4 years. Naturally, when I win the Euro Millions tomorrow, got to manifest these things. There's always the opportunity that's the point that I get to start on something a bit bigger. But I have got another project, kind of a much more longer term project in the works, to do the SRPS set in full detail, doors and so on. But that's really kind of 18-month, 2-year project. That's the magnum opus at the minute.
Wow, that's very cool, honestly. So would either of you, I mean, Johnny, you say, you've got these amazing dioramas, but would either of you, in the next couple of years be planning on doing a proper layout? I mean, I'm not saying that, it sounds like I'm saying it in a bad way. I think what you're doing is amazing, and it's its own form of the hobby in itself. So I'm not discounting that by any means, but like, I think there was a question here from King Ori. You don't run locos at all, just static.
A rolling road is probably the most running they get.
Okay.
That and again, another shout out, Ian Cawthorne, who is Alfweight Model Railway on Instagram. I class him as my test track. So he lives in Carlisle, a good 2 hours drive away, but we sort of pass each other every so often. And while he deposits with me a ton of projects that he wants me to do, I'll send him a couple of engines and go, right, go and run these in for a couple of hours, please, because they've been sat doing nothing.
That's brilliant.
But in terms of building my own layout, I always had the idea to do it. Part of it was even thinking of a garden railway, but I've sort of got myself a bit too deep wound up in doing all these sort of repaint projects and such, and sort of photographic dioramas. Part of it is time. The other part of it is space. But I do have a couple of friends related to the SRPS who are building layouts in their attics. So I'm going to be helping them. So as I see it, is I'm just sort of expanding my collection of railways that I just don't have to house. I don't have to pay for them, but I get to play with them, and that works.
Right. Makes sense.
So
you would do one day.
Pardon?
I said it sounds almost like joining a club, but an exclusive club with just your friends.
I'll leave those friends. I am not part of a club. I'll leave those friends. That's it.
Yeah.
And Jack, you would like to build a layout at some point?
Again, at some point, but like as Johnny says, kind of space, time, and money. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Got you. Makes sense. Rob says it's 9 p.m. BST. Watershed is now over. You may remove your language suppressors and go full auto.
Bye.
That's a sorry. That's very amusing, Rob, considering you were the one who pulled the gun out last week on the stream, and we've now since had to delist that stream as a result. Okay, let's see what else we got here. King Ori says, I need to see 828 running. It's finally local, but every time it's been, it's in the shed. Annoyingly, 828 isn't Southern, so still won't be running next time I go. Must say, I'd love to see 828. I know it's quite close to you, Dan, right?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes drive down the road, and they tend to put out on their socials when they're running it.
Yeah.
If they don't try and message the Spa Valley, they tend to be quite switched on when it's coming out and when it's every now and again. Like last year, I seem to recall it was out 2 or 3 weekends in a row over August, and they advertised that it was going to be. And there was one where it had birthday cake on the front of it for some reason. I don't know. And there was one weekend where it was pushing around this bizarre black thing that looked a bit like an M7. I don't know what that was.
You mean the Victor engine?
And then later in the day, it was on the back of the train just being pulled around. So I don't know what that was about. Yeah, maybe you know what this bizarre headboard is all about, Johnny.
Which headboard is this? There's so many.
A big black 044 headboard. It looks like a...
Oh, that you mean that itself? Oh, I don't know. If you were to say red, I might recognize it now.
Oh yeah. Don't want to give the game away too much, do you?
Well, I can send a couple images now if you want. No, we'll leave that. We'll leave that.
Leave it.
I'll get in trouble otherwise.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to chat to you guys about like layout inspirations that kind of, I mean, both of you have said space is an issue. If you could model any part of Scotland, what would you do, Johnny?
Oh, and I know you gave me a heads up, and it's one of these questions of, does everywhere count? Because
no, I need something specific.
Okay, if I was going to be very specific, I would say doing Waverley in sort of the period from like the 1920s up to the 1950s, because it didn't change much track layout wise, would be absolutely incredible to do. But as long as I could have the west lines going out through Princess Street and up to Haymarket Depot, so you had one shed there, and then the east lines going out to St Margaret's Depot and you had the other shed there. That would be enough activity for me, I think.
Wow. So I'm not super familiar with Waverley's older days. Did it always have a cover over it? Would that be something that you would include? Okay.
Yeah. It always had a cover, and if I'd done it similar to how I've done Dunfermline, it would probably be something with like a removable roof, be it in sections, so you could actually see what's going on inside, plus deal with the inevitable derailments that will happen.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So I
must say, I think...
Go on. You're going to say...
No, you, Dan.
Oh, all right. If you're going to do Waverley in that time period, that means you have to have the Flying Scotsman sat outside waiting to come in because of the agreement they had. It wasn't allowed to arrive into Waverley before the London Midland train arrived into Glasgow, right? There was some sort of agreement.
Yeah.
So they could get there really quickly, and they'd just sit outside the station and not let the passengers off. Yeah.
Why?
In the late 1920s, that was the agreement that the LMS and the LNER had, so that neither one took business away from the other. If you were going to Scotland, it took the same time to go to Edinburgh as it did to go to Glasgow on the fastest trains.
That is actually mad. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is before they started doing their sort of speed record runs, isn't it, Dan? From really. It was like a gentleman's agreement.
Exactly, that's the one.
I was just going to say, like, I don't think that would float today at all. Like, they'd just be like, oh, screw it. If we get there.
But today, you can't get on a train from London to Edinburgh that has a cocktail bar on it and a disco and a barber shop and a salon. Yeah, I know, right? But then again, the track must have been so much better back then in order to have all of those things. Imagine like a cutthroat razor, like shaving you on your way to Scotland on jointed track at 100 miles an hour.
Dan, I know. I said to you, we need to reduce our anecdotes this week because we've got so much content to get through. But about
it doesn't.
10 years ago,
if I'm talking about the Flying Scotsman, it doesn't count as an anecdote. It's the Flying
No.
Scotsman.
I'm not. I'm not.
It's Scottish Rail. It's related. Yeah.
No. But about 10 years ago, when I went back from Edinburgh to London, Scotland was playing England at Wembley, and it was basically the whole train was a cocktail car because it was absolutely raucous from all the way from Waverley to King's Cross. It was brilliant though. Absolutely great spirit. So
I didn't know that Scotland and England had international teams worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I'm not even going to fight him on that. He's right.
I mean, we do all right at rugby.
I was going to say, I thought any world championship.
Yeah, you do, Jack. You do all right at rugby.
Yeah, pro Jacobite here, rugby.
It's such a joke because whenever South Africa plays Scotland in rugby, I'm the only one sitting on the couch with my Scotland jersey on, and I'm like, yeah, come on, Scotland, let's go.
You're a traitor.
I know. I'm a total traitor. I'm a total traitor.
Absolute traitor.
The South Africa shirt.
Yeah.
It's a nod to my heritage. To be fair, because I grew up in Scotland and Wales, and I'm English. I don't feel that England, Scotland, or Wales suit me. But my granddad was the one who was mad on rugby, and he was South African.
But you feel like you are connected to South Africa, eh?
Exactly that.
Is that right? Okay,
Yeah.
no, lekker, man. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. Okay. So sorry, jumping back on to where we were with layouts. Jack, if you had to model anything, what would you model in Scotland?
I think it would be fundamentally some sort of concept of a preserved railway somewhere in the central belt of Scotland. It's where I grew up, purely from the idea that you can run wherever you like and Rule 1 applies, and no one can tell you no. Sort of, well, that didn't run in.
Yeah.
That didn't happen until 1929. But you can run what you like. A real mix of stuff. You can have a mix of modern, steam, 60s, 50s. That's the kind of thing I would do.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So Bowness then, really.
Agree.
Yeah, that's what he's described, isn't it? Yeah.
Fundamental elements of kind of Bowness, of Strathspey, of other railways incorporate Mulgai, the hometown, somehow as a terminus station. You know, there's kind of lots of kind of combinations of stuff that one could do. The kind of best of Scottish, best of British, wherever you would want.
And then I thought you'd say something interesting, like you'd do the FRPS's original site before they moved to Bowness. Surely that would be conducive for a layout.
Yes, but quite a long time before my time, before I kind of came accustomed to SRPS.
Yeah.
Well, you can model it in present day. Just put a Morrison's on your layout.
Is that what it's like? Wow.
You know what? I was genuinely surprised when I was there. I saw Spa. You guys have Spa in Scotland.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I thought that was always a South African thing, but apparently you guys have it too.
Unfortunately, the accents aren't strong enough because last time I went to Scotland, I had curly whirlies, and I'd go to the natives and say, "Can you pronounce that? If you can pronounce
the
it,
natives,
you can have it."
The natives.
The natives.
Oh. Here we go, division now.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna add some prime Scottish layouts that we've all selected between us, just to chat through as we kind of go through the comments.
Oh no, not this one. Oh no,
what's wrong with this one?
This makes me feel so old. I remember the one and only time I've seen it would have been in about 1996 or 7, and I actually saw it in Blair Athol. It was like,
oh really?
Yeah, they set it up in Blair Athol on its own. There was nothing else there, just the one layout. And I think at the time it was fairly new. And I remember it was such a hot day. My dad had a convertible car, and we parked outside, and it had these horrible vinyl seats. And I remember being scolded and bitten by midges, and just thinking, this is the most miserable day in Scotland. Why couldn't
So
it
a normal
just be
day in Scotland?
I know, right? Yeah. It was hotter than grease, pal. You know, it's that kind of level.
Oh, God,
one of those days. Eaten alive. Such a good layout, though.
It's stunning.
This half wasn't really scenic, though. I remember it was like the actual station, but this double track part was, I think it was like fairly underdeveloped at that point. But the trains were all Lima diesels. Because someone else had made better ones, yeah.
Bless them. Matt says, I come back and there's a tractor. Yes, Matt. There'll be a lot of tractors this evening. Don't worry, I promise you.
So we should all remember the first time, like where you were the first time you saw it. Where was the first time you saw this one, Johnny?
I think, if I'm remembering rightly, it was Glenrothes Model Railway exhibition when it used to be held in a shopping centre at Glenrothes. And I would have been maybe about 8, 9.
Yeah.
But again, it was very early days.
It's probably not far off when I first saw it in
Yeah.
terms of time. How about you, Jack? When did you first see this one?
I would have probably easily had a Model Rail Scotland at some point in the last kind of 30-odd years. Most recently saw it at Key Model World Live last year, by which point, of course, that whole double track station is much more scenic, as you can see in the photo. So, kind of really, I think probably long and short of it, we've all kind of see it throughout its development, really.
Yeah, I can't believe how long
it really
it's
has been around, huh?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
crazy.
It's a layout that's as old as some of us, really.
That's actually crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
It's sort of impressive. You say Scottish Model Railways, Blair Atholl comes immediately afterwards. In all honesty, I think it's Lat and Burnt Island are probably the two longest living layouts.
Burnt Island is so good.
Yeah.
Why didn't you guys mention it? I should have added it. God damn it.
I think I did. Didn't I?
Oh, did
I
you?
don't know.
Did you?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Damn it.
know,
I'm sorry.
I know one of the lads who operates it because funnily enough, we've got quite a few secret modelers in ScotRail. And he operates Burnt Island, and it's just a work of art. It's like this, the detail's superb.
It's amazing.
That's amazing.
I
mean, I was looking
kind
through
of kit built stuff, and none of it is really off the shelf.
And it's all in P4. The utter madness.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because the images that I pulled from RM Web for this, I was like, wow, like, was this shot with like an old camera, or like where did these photos come from? Because they have like that grainy oldness to them, and it looks cool. Actually, it kind of suits it, to be fair, especially now that I understand that it's a fairly old layout. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly highlight this, because I think you'll probably get into trouble, Johnny, if I don't. I would get so many more trains. I feel I haven't had enough cocktails and discos on trains. So that's a crime.
Taylor's watching. There you go. Next event at Bonus.
To be fair, something based around the Flying Scotsman with all of that on it would be quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
I mean, that's
absolutely.
something that no Heritage Railway has done yet. They haven't hired it in and then put a train behind it with a cocktail bar and a disco and all of that kind of stuff that they actually had on the Flying Scotsman.
Disco.
Yeah. It was literally.
I think it was like Dan. No. Like, we need to have a cocktail bar, but then there needs to be LSD and poppers and let's just turn it up, man. Turn it up.
Going
too far now. It's usually me who goes too
in case
far.
my employers are watching, I don't endorse that.
Yeah.
No, none of us endorse that. It's just me. Right. Let's see. What else
What's
have we
next?
got here? You still often get people acting like the trains are bars, clubs, and discos, particularly at Newcastle. Okay,
Newcastle's
fair enough.
shocking. I went there once. Most of the people don't bother to get dressed. It's really, really odd.
Aaron says, if I could model Scotland, I would do a part of the Edinburgh-Aberdeen main line, just a countryside scene that's timeless, so I can run anything from the 20s to the 60s. And that's it's a really cool idea. Also, especially I don't know, you could run your P2s to no end on something like that. That would be amazing.
Lunan Bay. I'll put that out there from Lunan Bay. Absolutely fantastic scene. Railway viaduct on the cliffs, sea in the background. That would do you.
Amazing. Beautiful. Matt says, yeah, Burnt Island is a stunner. I am so sorry I did not include Burnt Island. I feel like I've let everyone down. My apologies.
Next year.
I was just going to say, we've got 2026, don't worry.
You pulled images from RM Web. That's dangerous. You know what? actually, if somebody's going to get upset about this because we're showing off their layout, I think that's kind of silly. We're appreciating
fair,
your work.
He's only pulling it from RM Web because Rails of Sheffield haven't taken the photographs.
Fair play.
Oh yes, I do remember when we interviewed Harry, he said he wanted to do this as well. And I do think you should try and do it. Either one of you at some point. I'd love to see it happen, honestly. James says Scotland Motorway is autumn simulator and stunning. I think that's one of the things with Scotland, right? Is so this time round, on my own layout, I've kind of gone for like a spring vibe, just because I wanted to try something slightly different. But there's something about like that dry, very cold land of the West Highlands in autumn/winter that is just so appealing to me. I'll definitely do another one at some point. But do you guys have a favorite season to model?
I'd say all seasons because I need them for any type of photograph, really.
Sure.
But personally, I would love to do a winter scene. I've not done that yet. I need to put snow down on a diorama.
Yeah, you should. You should. That's a scary thing to do, though, as well.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let's move on. Lock Tat.
Right. Got the reaction twice.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I remember seeing it at a show about 5-6 years ago, and literally because it's up high, you look across the loch at the track and you get the reflection of the trains. And I was just looking at it thinking, all it needs is a moored. Just that moored skirting the loch.
All it needs is a moored.
On the layout would just be, but it just captures. Sorry, Hill. Put your hands over your ears. But this captures the West Highland just perfectly.
Yeah. No.
It's like you look at it and you think, where on the West Highlands is this? And it's like, oh, it's made up. Well, it feels like it could be real.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean the colors are just spectacular, and actually I love a back scene like this as well because it's so simple, and your foreground does all the work, and the back scene doesn't have to do a lot of work at all. It's truly stunning, honestly.
But also the way it was operated, so the station is next to the fiddle yard at one end, so there's always a train stacked ready to leave the station when the other one's coming along the loch. So you just get train, a passing move, and there's always something going up and down the loch all the time. Yeah. I really,
I think that's what you need for an exhibition layout. And it's not to throw shade at any sort of operators or such, but when you're trying to sort of show off your modeling and your layout to people who are trying to whiz by in a big exhibition hall, you don't want your layout to just be quiet, no movement at all. You need to make sure there's always something there to draw people in, and Locked Hat seems to do that quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. And the thing with this again is it's just color. Like the color here is so good. It's so good. It's absolutely stunning. So I apologize. I don't get the best photos. I did try.
To be honest, there aren't many
videos.
Difficult.
There's a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to sum it up is that when you look at it, you kind of think this is a layout to the standard of a 00 layout, but it was at an Engage show, and it really shone among the others. That were because I saw it at the International Engage show, and it's just like, it's a layout that hasn't started with a flat board with track on it, with scenery all above track level. There's scenery below track level, quite crucially, which makes a huge difference.
Absolutely, completely agree with you. Mountaineer 1265. Sorry, I've had enough whiskey.
No, that's
model Campbelltown.
Mountaineer 1265.
I'm just trying to. Is this a Scottish name, guys?
No, it's based on the Alco at Festiniog. So there's an American engine at the Festiniog Railway.
So can you pronounce that for me, Dan, please?
What, Mountaineer?
No, Campbelltown and...
I don't know what that's
about. That is Scottish. Yeah, that bit. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Yeah.
McMahon.
Macrahanish. Okay, great.
I think in response to that, I'd say you first.
Why is that? I look, I know nothing, so why is that?
I know very little about the Campbelltown Railway, to the point that I wouldn't want to dip a toe in it, first of all. But I might be wrong here, but is it not some silly gauge of track as well? And at which point, trying to find anything that's not, flexi track, pico track, that's game over for me. Make it simple and easy.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Dan, do you know anything about that?
No, but I do think it's funny how Johnny said, make it simple and easy, considering how many engines have you repainted that aligned?
Yeah, fair point. Thanks. Yep. Yeah. Oops.
Matt says he's here for the P2s, and aren't they just fantastic? Honestly, Matt, I completely agree with you. And also here for Eastfield TMD, because oh my gosh, that O gauge layout is amazing. Honestly,
it's a monster.
It really is. Have you guys seen it in person?
Yeah. It was last year at Glasgow, wasn't it? So that was before they had started doing the scenery on the Glasgow Queen Street station part of it.
Yeah, they kind of started to build it. The basic form was there, but it wasn't hadn't kind of started on it in earnest.
Yeah, I mean it's an incredible looking layout. I do feel sorry for the guys because it was the first exhibition it had done, and I believe they were using a wireless sort of controller setup, similar to like the Rocco Z21s and such. But because in an exhibition hall like that, where you've got so many other operators who are also using the same system, the Wi-Fi signal kept dropping out. So half the time they were struggling to run anything, which was such a pity because it is a fantastic looking layout. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say, in my now, like, I think nearly a year into building this, I kind of wish I had done something based on a real world station. There's a part of me that feels like building a railway based on something real is incredibly satisfying. It's nice to do something from your imagination, but like something like Eastfield is really, really, really cool, especially in that scale. My God. Let's see comments before we move on to the next layouts. Oh my gosh, it's already half past the watershed. Okay, we need to move along. George Miss Junction. George Mass. So
Rapido Trains UK are doing one of the Great Central Break vans. It says to work between Wick and George Miss Junction on the side of it.
Just a small plug.
Just a small plug. There's a Scottish brake van in the range of Great Central brake vans in the Boomer liveries. Just in case anybody doesn't know.
But did they run behind DRS 37s?
I don't know. Just said George Miss. So
there you go. From one of your boys, Robbie Grant, a Dawlish Coast layout would do it for me personally, or a Swindon Works shed layout. And then he says, sorry, I know it's not Scottish.
You can kick him out the chat.
I can't, actually. I can't. I don't know. Yeah, this is really impressive. I particularly like the use of color on this layout. It really, really is pretty special.
That's what really stood out when you were kind of standing watching it. Is that again, it's layers of color, and it's so easy just to use one shade of green for bushes. But when you look at them, you can see it there: dark, light shades, different textures, colors. The purple heather. It helps massively.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go, Dan. Dan with the multiple shameless plugs. To be fair, he's not that bad. He could be way worse, but he's not. He's actually very chilled, Aaron.
I also love I had to fight for.
I know, and good for you. You deserve them, Dan. Honestly, good for you. I love these Barbie colors. That's what they call them, right? The Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are so cool. They are so cool. This is a really fantastic little layout, I must say. All right, let's see. Tat is in Model Railway 2012. If you want to see professional photos, thank you very much for that, Mountaineer 1265. Right, moving on. More George Miss. Beautiful 66 there. Oh man, just look at that purple. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
You know, I've been debating purple on my own layout, and I'm just wondering, like, when is too much purple?
I was waiting for the word purple, but for someone with a Scottish accent to say it.
Purple.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry.
Say it, Johnny.
Oh, it's a wee bit purple, is it? No.
No burglar alarm, though.
The worst. But that's probably the benefit of Scottish layouts, is you can have a lot of purple heather, and also the gorse up here is always very vivid for such a long period of time in the spring as well. That it's surprising you don't see a lot more of it in layouts.
It's kind of just starting to fade now. It's kind of just past its best, but down the Ayrshire coast and so on. When I was down there a few weeks ago, just stunning.
So this is really quite a selfish question from my part, but because I'm kind of modeling like late spring, early summer, is purple the right color for the Highlands? With
purple you can get away with.
Okay. What time of year does it usually come out?
I mean, I'm not really a botanist, so I don't pay attention that much. I just like it when I see it. But I've got photographs at Strathspey around sort of June, July time with quite a bit of purple in it. So I would definitely go for there. Likewise, because you're modelling in the Highlands, if you're talking about June time, you can still get away with gorse, so yellows as well.
You kind of see it in that. You kind of see it in that photo there, just kind of the kind of bottom left-hand side. You've got purple, but just kind of wee flashes of yellow still there. So that's the kind of thing that you'd be able to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys, I'm so glad I had you on tonight, because now I know what I can do, and I appreciate that very much. Also, you guys should pay more attention to, the flora and fauna of your beautiful country. So
probably should, yeah.
Cool. So we're wrapping up with good old George Miss. I don't know if this back scene the sort of standard for it, just kind of open like this.
If I recall, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a fairly plain back scene on the model, and to be fair, when you go up there, there's really nothing around kind of in terms of height at that point, like high hills and so on. So yeah, it's realistic for what you would get up there.
It looks good. Honestly, it really, really looks good. Cool. This is one I don't think you guys mentioned it to me prior to this, but I found this on RM Web, and I just thought it was a really decent looking layout. I don't know if either of you guys have seen this before.
No,
I don't think I've seen that one.
No.
No.
Okay, so it's new to everyone.
Yeah.
From what I can see, it looks like it's sort of West Highlands, or perhaps it's the Kyle line. But I really like the colors in this, so this was technically my choice for the layouts. But like, water, a lot of busyness in terms of like the natural vegetation. I really, really liked. I thought it was very pretty. Just thought it was really cool. By the way, I've got a new obsession with 26s. These are the new it thing of the moment. They are absolutely outstanding, and I really want some more of them. Do you guys have a favorite diesel? Because I know you're both steam guys, right?
Ooh. I mean, a generic answer would be the 37s. You can never beat the sound of 37. But because they do look a little bit odd, I would say the 20s.
Good choice. Great choice, actually.
It's bizarre, because I used to kind of think 20s were all right until I went for a ride on one at Bowness of all places and thought it was when it was on the front of the train, I thought it was really claustrophobic because you're just looking at a big wall. Unless you're sat in the driver's seat or the second man seat, there's just this big plain wall in front of you and you've got no view of anything. Yep. You get a better view on a steam engine. It was kind of horrible in a way. But yeah,
interesting. Jack, do you have a favorite other than the 37? Of course,
I do like the 26 and 27. That was kind of nice. Our early days Bobo diesels, but again, I do a good 37 4 particularly. They are a credit to the boxes and wheels. They're about the nicest you can get, I think.
There we go. This stream has made me want to model a real location for my new layout. I just need to pick somewhere. Scotland, East Coast main line. Have you guys got any suggestions?
Oh, are they meaning East Coast main line where a lot of people regard it as only as far as Edinburgh, or are they meaning the East Coast main line bit between Edinburgh and Aberdeen?
Okay, because maybe you need to clarify there.
Yeah, because again, if so, I would always say if you want a very nice scenic shot, Lunan Bay. Anybody who wants to look at it, go on Flickr, type in Lunan Bay, and just put train or Royal Scotsman, anything like that, and you'll see a load of images of this girder span viaduct that goes between two cliffs, and then you've got the sea in the backdrop. And honestly, it's such a lovely location.
Speaking of Royal Scotsman, do you think you could do some Royal Scotsman coaches? You, Johnny.
I have a friend who has some kits, and discussions have been brought up about doing them. Again, time is probably one thing of it. The other is possibly just looking into 3D printing instead of brass kits for some of this stuff. Because we're now seeing being this era where 3D printing is overtaking brass kits depending on what you need.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a big surge in it. Well, I'll tell you, if you do make any headway, again, a very selfish request, but myself and another Scotsman from Hamilton are looking to do Royal Scotsmans. So let us know. Stay in touch.
Just a couple of boxes to find their way to South Africa and to Hamilton. We can arrange that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm sure you can. Not a problem at all. Actually, maybe this is a question you two could answer. How far north would the Queen of Scots Pullman travel?
Glasgow Queen Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it came up. If I remember, Queen of Scots is the one that had a portion for Leeds, had the portion for Edinburgh, and then worked through to Glasgow Queen Street. Because quite often you'd then find it headed by like A2s and A1s and such out of Queen Street with a North British 062 tank banking at the back end. And it's there's a few colour photographs, probably on the net as well, and it's just this sparkling, gleaming Pullman stock in amongst the absolute grottiness that Queen Street used to be back then. And it's so
kind of
out
awesome.
of place.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though, right? Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, there we go. I would also like some Royal Scotsman coaches. There you go. You got 3 customers. 3 customers.
Well, my mate who's watching with the 3D printer, you know what we're doing.
Wow.
Rob says yes, class 20s. I know he loves a good chopper. And Jack, I know you did some posters recently, and I saw them the other day, and I was like, damn, those are cool. Jack, could we potentially get some files and print our own at some point? I'm just full of selfish questions here. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. I know some of the posters are definitely getting sold on one of the upcoming tours. I don't know about the chopper ones, but yeah, I'm sure I can get you copies.
Please.
I've got all the artworks, did them all, so I can get that for you.
Lovely, awesome. Okay, so we're rounding off with Mianach. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Mianach. How would you guys say that?
Well, because I don't...
Menach. I would have thought Menach.
Menach.
Yeah.
Menach. Okay.
Like, I don't think it's an actual place name in Scotland that I've come
No.
across. So, like you say, as Jack says, Menach would probably be the closest.
Okay. So this is probably a very much a fictitious layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucas says class 3s are peak diesels.
Let's say in that photo, if you look at the
Yeah.
first passenger door behind the engine, is
Window
that a
hanger.
basher? Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
they've modelled
yeah.
a basher in there. What do you reckon? These
Yeah,
an
I think they
inset or a main man?
Explain.
Oh, you have to watch the bashers in order to get that Hilton.
Oh, right. Okay, that was the whole. We're mad about 37th thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's an 80s subculture thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
One for the Scots. When did the Cowlairs incline lose its rope pulley thing? I believe it used to hold. It used to be a rope hold incline.
I could not tell you a date.
Yeah.
I will hold my hands up to that. What I will say is I have seen photos of it still in use early LNER days, but I could not be quoted on any further than that.
Fair. Okay, I'm gonna move on from this. There's quite a few here. Sorry, guys. All right, Tulloch Bridge.
Tulloch Bridge. Yep.
This
Another
is a
one of
good
your suggestions, guys.
That's
Yeah,
another one
this
that
is-
is pretty much every Scottish show you will see this. But it is nice. It is a very nice layout.
And understandably, I think this like captures the essence of everything I love about Scotland. Big hills, pines, that very like iconic kind of ballast. Man, this is a really, really good looking layout. And it's quite simple too, right? It's quite small.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
it's
small.
great.
That's
It's kind of not much longer than, well, it's a 6-8 feet or so. You've only got one point at the right hand end, 2 tracks coming off from the left hand side. It's extremely effective for such a small space at getting across what it's trying to do. It's really stunning.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good old 67 there for good effect. Are there many 67s running on in Scotland now?
No
not
anymore.
anymore.
No.
Hmm.
I mean, as that kind of scene's trying to was modelling, they were very common on the sleeper runs, but I mean, I think 67s in general are fairly rare now on the main line. User, and I think they were I think quite specific, if I remember right, duty wise. Yeah, you don't see them a lot now.
I think the first one actually went for scrap this week.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because nobody's wanted to take them on because, like you say, they were a very sort of specific type traction.
Sorry, I just see this now. There you go. Dan, you can lift it up again.
I need to repaint it, but this is a no gauge mod. Well, it's not mod, it's SOM at the moment, but it needs impulse buy.
Som as in the Battle of Som.
SOM
If you're wanting mod transfers for your O gauge one, let me know, Dan, because I've got a project in the summer needs some.
Yeah. Well, I'm letting you know now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll get that one.
Tom Marshall's back from supper at the pub, or as you guys say, tea at the pub, which I think is still really weird. Why don't you just call it dinner? What have you missed? Dan, you want to summarize the last hour and a half?
We went through an Instagram post. We did the news, went through an Instagram post, which summed up everything that's happened in Scottish modelling over the last year. Buggles Kelly wasn't mentioned. We've been talking about someone was annoyed that 828's not in Scotland. And then we looked at some layouts, but Hilt fucked up because he didn't include Burnt Hand 1883, which is what we were all here for. But we're still waiting to see if he's actually pretending. We're still looking at these layouts going, yeah, this is great. It's great. Just waiting for, come on, where's the real Scottish modelling? Where's the diver in P4? Because that thing sent the
I'm
hair
so
on the back of my neck.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
Oh.
so sorry. This was
I
the
can't
most,
blame you.
This was
I can't.
this was
I
the
can't bl-
one stream I was so excited about, and I fucked it up.
I've just made Aaron's night as well because he's gone. Yes, an F-bomb. What the fuck is that? As far as I'm concerned, when I grew up, it was a greeting. Yeah, ball bag. Seriously, he hasn't missed much, but it's good to have him back. And well done. I'm digressing slightly because I wasn't allowed to tell anecdotes, but I can digress and say, well done, Tom, for taking the step back for your mental health and being sensible with your business. Hats off to you on that one.
He said that they didn't actually have food, so he had an emergency sandwich. And I feel like the pub never had food. That was just
I was really annoyed he said a sandwich. I thought he'd say, like, I had to have emergency hot potted toast for tea at home.
For tea. Right. I want to go down to one of... Oh, there we go. Phoenix Lane. This is one of your suggestions, Johnny.
Was Phoenix Lane one of mine?
No, it was Jack's. It was Jack's.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Again, this was one I came across really fairly recently at Motherwell, Scotland this year, and again, kind of quite different from kind of the ones we've looked at, predominantly in the Highlands. This is something much more along the lines of the industrial kind of regions of Glasgow and out towards kind of Highland, Annisland, Yoka, industrial, the kind of real mix of industry, rail, and kind of residential, the kind of the way they all met in that area of the city. So it's again something quite different. Really great detail on it. Variety of stock. You can see this kind of Midland stuff, predominantly a bit of LNR as well. So yeah, it was just a kind of a
proper engine.
Yeah, well, sort of
Robinson engine in there.
Yeah. So it was kind of a real mix of stuff, but kind of absolutely encapsulated kind of Glasgow.
I am wearing trousers.
You keep showing us your legs, Dan. Sorry, Jack. It's just that Dan got so excited.
You shouldn't call them pants as well. You're not from Manchester. Come on.
I'm from South Africa.
I know.
It's like Manchester, but worse. Well,
I suppose you did end up making your own garrets, so. Yeah, no, I recognise this now. I've seen this layout, and it's because when I saw it, I thought that Jones Goods looks familiar. The coaches behind it look dropping though.
Yeah.
Those are the Hornby ones.
Yeah, well,
a
trying.
long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to be Caledonian.
See what you did there. It's usually me that comes up with jokes like that.
All right, I'm moving us sort of swiftly along here because I do realize that we're 10 minutes to where we usually end, and I don't think we're even like
we haven't even thrown it out.
We
haven't even thrown out questions yet. In order,
Johnny is going to have a rough morning tomorrow. Really?
Oh,
rough.
It's an easy shift tomorrow. Don't worry. Easy shift.
Don't worry. Tom says, my club in Reading has a fictional Scottish layout. The hope is to get it up and running as we don't have an O-gauge group anymore. Great to hear that, Tom. I'm glad people south of the border can appreciate the fine landscapes of Scotland. Phil says, finally some steam. Yes, I know. I promised not to make this like a tractor thing. And I've done my best to balance it out, and you'll see why just now. So one of my inspirations is this guy called the 62C Workbench.
No.
And
I'm really happy to announce
that.
Now. I know it would be such an honor to have the 62C Workbench, with us this evening. But unfortunately, he's not here. So we'll just take a look at his work. we've got this other guy. But honestly, Johnny, I think your dioramas are next level, dude. Like, I would struggle genuinely to tell this apart from the real deal.
I mean, I'd say
you've got a knack.
Firstly, you're too kind. Secondly, a lot of it is just sort of wizardry in Photoshop. I will be honest. Like, that photograph layer.
I see what you did there. You said it was mostly wizardry, and I'm seeing Ron's car. Looks like the nod to Harry Potter.
That looks like a Ford Anglia.
Yeah. You secretly a Potterphile. That's the only reason why you've been going up there.
But
do you write angry tweets to J.K. Rowling?
How do you think I spend my breaks?
That's all I do.
But no. So to be fair, so like my dioramas, maybe I should take some photographs of them without any sort of like the photo back scenes that I put in, so people understand just what is the real part of it and then what's the photographs. But and that one you're seeing there, pretty much anything behind the Ford Anglia, that's all from other photographs that I've then put in place from real life locations. So that's why none of my dioramas actually have a back scene. Instead, if I just turn the laptop very quickly, you'll see a blue bed sheet, which I use as a sort of green screen. But so no, that's a lot of what I do. I wouldn't say any of it is fantastic modelling. I would say I'm slowly getting better. Boat of Garten right now. I'm quite happy with that. And likewise, not of any it is a coincidence, but I'm modelling Hilton Junction right now. Well, Moncrief Tunnel, just to the north of Hilton Junction. Just because it's quite a tight, narrow sort of shot to take. But it'll be great for having the certain manufacturers' fish fans behind a Princess Lizzie for photographs.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Honestly, it's indiscernible that is not part of your actual diorama. I wouldn't have guessed otherwise. Like maybe the trees, I would have said, okay, maybe those are photoshopped in, but that is absolutely nuts. And I think the chat is reacting to the same thing. Tom says that's a real photo, surely. I think what really impresses me here, Johnny, not just the modeling that you've done here, is the lighting that you get on this. It's
so admittedly, I'm quite lucky there because I own several site lights from doing the night shoots at Bo'ness and Strathspey. So I just use that equipment for lighting my photographs.
It's amazing.
And it works well for replicating the sun.
It really does. It's like as Phil says, looks real.
I don't know if I should give my take on it because the first thing I thought of when I saw it, and I don't know if you're going to be mortified or insulted when I say this, but it's like you've gone to all the effort to make the engine. Gone to all the effort, and you've even added an NEM pocket so that when you have a layout in the future, you can easily add couplings and make it work properly.
So, funnily enough, that's actually a Hornby Adams chassis that it's on.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If I can, I try and avoid building my own chassis if there's an RTR version I can put underneath for reliability's sake.
Makes sense.
So, has that got the original wheels on it, or have you replaced them?
If I remember rightly, I replaced the driving wheels on them because the driving wheels were the wrong size. And I'm trying to remember what I took them from now. It'll come to me at some point.
Because the front bogie wheels look bigger than they would do on.
So they're the correct size, but I think the wheel boss is slightly too thick.
Right, okay.
But it's compromises here and there. It's probably something I should change with Gibson wheels at some point.
Because you know what you could have done with some careful photoshopping is you could have convinced people that it was a ready-to-run model. If you'd put like the box in the background and gone, I've got my Hornby, Hornby North British, and people would have fallen for it.
Apparently, we're not allowed anecdotes, but I'll force one in quick.
No, you are allowed anecdotes. You are.
Just me. It's just me that's banned.
We had that at Model Rail Show. back in 2023. We had it at Perth Model Rail. So we're quite friendly with like the Edinburgh and Lothians Model Club and everything. And occasionally when they're doing model shows, we'll take engines that I've repainted and such for test. So we took the J36 in green, which was done long before Hornby ended up doing theirs. And so we'd run it on their layout, and then taken it back off, went to go and get a cup of tea in the cafe. And a couple of folk came up to us asking if that was a pre-production model we had out for test. And at that point, I thought, well, I've achieved what I need to do now. I'll quit while I'm ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fair play.
We'll jump to the one that I'm the most interested in, because I heard you made a K4.
It's not the best K4. Anybody listening from retail, from manufacturing and such, please do us a K4 and put me out my misery.
Thank you. Yes, I echo that exceptionally. It's a must. A must.
That's the Great Waste, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's so sad that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've always said that if I had an opportunity to bring either of them back, bring the K4.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Johnny, as far as I understand, you used a K3 running board and a K1 cab on this, right?
So it's the K, if I remember rightly, K3 running board, the K3 cab sides, but the cab front spectacle plate was from the Hornby K1. So it had to be sort of transplanted over. The boiler is from a Hornby K1. There's a few slight inaccuracies for the K4, but it's the right diameter, it's the right length, it looks it from afar.
Honestly,
likewise,
I would be convinced, yeah.
But I like that you've chosen one of my worst and earliest photographs. Brilliant.
Well, it's just the K4, so I had to bring it up.
It's why it's remained like that. It's a very rough cut and shut. It needs to be redone a little bit.
Honestly, I think it looks great. I love this photo so much. This is one of my, like, I've got it saved on my Instagram saved. I love this photo. It's as close as to real as you can get, honestly. Genuinely. Where did you do this?
So that's Dunfermline, so it's right over there. Dunfermline was funnily enough,
right over there.
Yeah, no, sorry. If anybody wants, there you go. We'll line up with J36s right outside it. That was the COVID project. That was the thing that sort of started it all. I decided I want to do Dunfermline because it's my local shed. It was where I was born. Not the shed itself, but nobody obviously does a model of it. You know, a lot of these sheds don't come sort of off the shelf. So I had to design it all with CAD drawings and such, send it off, get it MDF laser cut, and come back. So that's why, sadly, and again, I'm picking holes in my own stuff, I feel like the girders and such lack depth because they're just MDF laser cut. So again, with the advent of 3D printing, there's possibilities that Dunfermline will be getting a major shake-up.
Okay, exciting. But I would argue it looks pretty damn good. Like, it does not need a damn thing. Jesus. It's outstanding, man. Really well done.
I'll take the compliment. Cheers.
Yeah, sorry. This is like just a stream of gushing. It's just, I love it. I love it. All right, there we go. Ben Alder. My God. It just gets better and better, doesn't it?
So that's the latest diorama.
Yeah.
And to be fair, and anybody who's interested in modelling Scottish scenes and such, if you look up pop-up designs on Google, it's a company based in North Berwick who do a lot of like MDF laser cut kits. There's about 70 or so relating to railway stuff in Scotland. Buy stuff from them and just make a little mini diorama board of, say, Killing Station and such, because that's all that shed was a pop-up designs Macduff shed that I've just heavily modified, but it's good as a base. So it's quite easy breaking into Scottish modelling, I'll say that.
It's quite sad, really, you mentioned them, because we got one in the office of the Highland Railway 2-road shed, and we were going to make a diorama for the Jones goods. and then just time ran away and it never actually came to fruition. I saw this half-finished shed in the warehouse earlier today. I was just like, that would have made a really good layout. It never happened, and we don't have a reason to anymore because the Jones Goods has been and gone. So,
well, you should speak to Johnny and Jack because they can do the next one for you. So
just send pre-production samples up here. You know what will happen? Photographs. All I'm saying.
No, we'll send you kits and you can build them, and then I'll photograph them.
We're all about connections here, baby.
Yeah.
All about connections. There we go. Tom Marshall says, is Instagram the best place to follow the 62C workbench?
Yeah. I should really open up a Facebook page as well, admittedly, because they're sort of the same thing. But because all of my stuff are sort of stills, like photographs of dioramas, update on this project, nothing running, I don't do a YouTube channel because it would just be looking at an empty space, with no music and such for 10 minutes.
That's fine. I'm sure people would lap that up, honestly.
ASMR of me airbrushing a train, that can do. But Instagram is the best place to follow my stuff if you're interested. Likewise, I do post sometimes on RMWeb.
Tom, you gotta. There you go. You can follow him around Waverley. Johnny, you gotta keep her there. She's
yep. What you don't know as well is there's a whole side thread that she's been messaging me as well. So I'm being attacked from all front. Yeah.
Again, another amazing engine shed scene. I'm gonna unfortunately move through these. Guys, we're past.
Do it. Go quicker. Go quicker.
Are you guys okay going a little bit later? Are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Fantastic. I don't want to affect the timetables for the tomorrow's services too much. And I'm just pulling stuff from your more recent stuff now, Johnny. This is again just absolutely incredible. I think the chat seems to be really they're gushing too. Johnny Duff question: did you also make a small boiler GNRC1?
No, sadly, no. Basically, if it didn't run in Scotland, I've probably not touched it.
Fair.
At least with my own collection, anyway.
Got you. Lucas says, I want the Workshop Jones Goods picture on my wall right now. There you go. You can sell some limited edition prints there, Johnny.
There you go. Me and Jack will open up a shop of our prints.
Do a calendar.
Do a calendar.
That is why I want to do a winter diorama. Yeah, because I do calendars for my family of my real railway photography shots. And I've thought, I wonder if I could trick them one year and just make them all model shots, and would they realise?
But genuinely, wouldn't it be an option to do like a model railway calendar and have it in support of SRPS? Getting Maud back on the line.
No, do it to support the overhaul of Maud.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Not the SRPS as a whole. The rest of it can get fucked. Get Maud done. Stop wasting money on red paint.
Hang on, I'm just getting a load of messages now about what was that about? Fuck SRPS.
Yeah, I've just had an email here. Your membership has been. Oh yeah, no.
So we're no longer part of SRPS now, guys. So
there you go. Followed you back. Sorry. There we go. Look, this is a plan now. I'd buy prints and a calendar, says Matt. Thunderblade 989 says the Scotland Steam calendar. I would absolutely buy that.
I'd hang one in my office.
Honestly,
I've clearly been missing a trick line. There we go. Right.
I was going to say, Johnny, I think our first kind of thing after this needs to be to set up a shop on Etsy or somewhere like that, as a YouTube or something,
absolutely, lads.
eBay or somewhere, kind of get selling stuff.
Yeah, let's get Maud back in Steam and some extra pounds into your pockets. That would be, I think, good for everyone, right?
All from
this one. All for more.
Oh, this one had
Oh.
GoldenEye vibes.
Yeah.
Because it's got the snowplow on it.
It's just a class 20 pulling a train nose first. Just makes you think of GoldenEye. It's like it's Bond. Ram him.
Absolutely. I freaking love that thing. Honestly, I know somebody has made one, but I would love one genuinely of that Bond 20 with the Soviet star on it. I'd run that crap out of Dunroman all the time. Honestly, it'd be amazing.
Exactly the same 3 minutes that you gave me, Bond.
In 5 years' time, well, the track's wrecked, but we have Maud now. There you go. At first glimpse, it looks like a black and white photograph that's been colorized. I mean, there you go. No higher praise.
I like the accuracy if there's another photographer who stood in your photo and got in the way.
Yep. I mean,
I think you mentioned something about this photographer, didn't you, in the caption?
yeah. I mean, one of my inspirations for a lot of this, like in terms of my style of photography and such, is a guy called Bill Anderson. And this is a little bit of a plug for going onto a website. If you go into color-rail, no, sorry, is it color-rail or rail-online? Sorry, I'll pull up and put it in the chat. But basically, there's a collection of some of Bill Anderson's shots, and it's some of the loveliest Scottish photography you'll ever see of steam. It's absolutely fantastic. And anybody who's got like the Steam in Scotland 1, Steam in Scotland 2 books, it's all his stuff, and it's just absolutely superb. But he was from just along the road here, and a lot of the photographs of Charlestown are his. So it was one of those of, I'll just pop them in the scene this time round.
Okay, we need to find that link and drop it in the chat. Dan, are you on
I'll
that?
see them. Yeah, sorry, it's rail-online. That's what it is. Sorry. And then if you click on collections, and it's WJV Anderson.
Okay.
And
I'm just pulling up the link myself. Collections.
Snoop first.
WJV Anderson. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got it. There you go.
And I mean, what's on there is like a fraction of the photographs he's taken, but they're absolutely superb. But that's me gushing anyway. So
No, absolutely. Johnny, you've got to do a Loch Tay Shed Killing Branch diorama. Bit late now.
Yeah, thanks for adding on to the list, Robbie.
There we go. There's a great question from Aaron for Johnny and Jack. What are your favorite? Well, what is your favorite Scottish logo? We'll start with Jack. Yeah.
Johnny's answered it there. It is that particular North British 060 mod. But I think it was for me. It's kind of interesting because it was down at the Keighley-Worth Valley Railway earlier in the year, and the amount of people that kind of ask about mod. It's kind of one of those engines that actually has broad spectrum appeal, kind of across the railway scene. As does kind of like the other one that comes to mind would be kind of Stepney. It's kind of one of those engines that's really, really symbolic. And I think were there to be at some point an appeal for it, I think you would find a great swathe of the railway community giving something towards it. I mean, considering that in the kind of 70s and 80s, it was doing runs on the West Highland line. It took itself to one of the gatherings. I want to say it was kind of the Rainhill gathering,
and it went there on its own steam.
Yeah, with the Cali coach, under its own steam with the Cali coaches, it's been up the Highland Main Line in preservation. It's Paul Medee for an open day in the 2000s. It features in the 2001 version of the Railway Children. It's one of those engines that kind of keeps appearing in some main way in kind of every decade. So I think it's just an engine that has a general appeal across the scene.
Yeah, I think the current stint now is probably the longest it's been out of steam.
Mm-hmm. 23 years now, 23, 24 years, I want to say.
But at the same time, it's still in everybody's front of mind, if you know what I mean. It's the engine we always get asked about.
It's very telling that it was the first Scottish engine that any manufacturer touched in the modern era.
Yeah.
Very, very telling.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we need to make this calendar happen, and we need to get moored back on Steam on the backbone of Johnny's amazing railway photography. I think that's a really good
so
answer.
Each calendar is going to be about $1,000.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll pay for it. As long as it's like lined in gold, I'm happy with it.
Oh, great! I'm gonna have great. That's me gonna have to learn how to gold leaf now. I better get on the class.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all learning new skills all the time. I love that for you, Jack. That's growth. I love it. Here's another one from you, Johnny. Honestly, I don't know. I could not tell this from a real damn photograph. Honestly, it's mad. Absolutely mad.
Yeah, it's again, 90% of it is the model. It's just the hills in the distance. That's from the Settle and Carlisle line, actually. So not even Scotland.
Works.
No,
sure.
Yeah.
No. It's all good. I think you posted this one yesterday, or maybe the day before. I can't remember. This
morning, yeah, because
this morning, right?
If we haven't made a big enough deal about the J36s, the J36s were the last engines on British Railways Scotland region books, and today is the 58th anniversary since their withdrawal and the end of Scottish Steam.
Wow.
Also, I noticed that you have a Rapido D88 and a Rapido, is it D67 in there as well?
Yep. Half of this is an advertisement for you guys.
Yeah, no, special stuff. All right, there you go, Dan. You can tell your story now. I don't know why this photo of all of them got squashed. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Done?
I don't know. know.
This is one of my
improved loading gauge.
I'm so sorry. I did not do this. The Google Slides did its own thing with this photograph for some reason.
So this is when I was 6 years old, and one morning my dad goes, "I phoned in sick. You're not going to school today." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to go and do something more educational." I'm like, okay. So we end up driving to this random place near Glen Eagles, and then over the horizon comes Blue Peter and runs past. I'm just like, okay. And he says, "Don't tell your teachers that you weren't sick." It's like, I won't then.
Totally worth it.
He'd probably deny it.
What were his exact words,
about it.
Dan?
Oh, too blue for here.
No, you said it earlier.
I did, but I'll leave it at that.
Doesn't dare repeat it now.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, to go back to this, Tom just says, the light on that reminds me of Shot from Thomas. Sorry, Hilton. I don't hate Thomas, Tom. I just don't resonate with it as much as some other people do. To be fair, slight digression, Thomas was my childhood too. I just I don't vibe with Thomas like I used to. There we go.
Yes.
There's the star of the show. Thank you, Dan, for this photo.
That's all right. Another one of my dad's. That would have been one of the countless weekend visits to Bowness as a kid.
Yep.
And that's
absolutely fantastic.
Especially my earliest
that,
memories.
Cali star on the front there. I absolutely love that aspect of them. Always, it's very cool.
I do feel that ruins it. To be fair,
really? Honestly, I disagree
because it's Cali. In fact, I can't remember the stars themselves. Weren't they individual drivers that used to put them on their engine?
Yeah. If you have a look at Cali stars, and that's why I feel sorry for anybody who does like renumber like the Cali 812s and such, is that the stars tended to be like a personalized thing, and so the amount of designs and design variations among them, it's madness trying to pick the right engine for the right star.
Yeah, because the thing is about the stars is when you look at them, because they tend to be fairly silver. They just remind me of the little tubs you get like your Indian takeaway in. They seem really tacky to me. It's like, the North British would put it on there. It's something. It's something for the railway of blue bastards.
It's so random. Question for Johnny. Johnny, have you gotten around to modeling one of those terriers that ended up north of the border? Are you looking forward to doing more terrier paint jobs? It sounds like there's a story there.
I just want to point out, right now it's starting to feel like people who have jobs for me lined up are now they're going to attack while he's on the stream. Thanks, guys. So Kenny,
there's no escaping.
Kenny's a mate of mine, and he sort of has a project to represent every terrier in double O gauge.
This wouldn't be Kenny Felsted by any chance, right?
Yes,
indeed.
Yes.
Oh God, it's all going Kenny shaped.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm going to be careful what I say
now with his name.
I've known Kenny for about 20 plus years now, and I have this habit of saying things, and he gets offended and goes into what I call a Kenny mood, where he gets really upset, and I was just like, "What did I say? I have no idea." So it's like,
But no, so he sent me some terriers. He's going to send me more terriers. But as we were sort of investigating, we actually came across, I think, 2 photographs of the ones that ended up in Scotland. But the actual livery they wore, we're just trying to determine exactly what the base color was, because with black and white prints, it can be very difficult to tell if it's umber or if it's improved engine green. But yeah, no, he's trying to force terriers on me in my collection, but I'm resisting for now.
If you really think so much of terriers, you should try driving one. They're not that great. Give me a bucket any day over a terrier.
Yeah.
I thought you stopped vibing with when Dan called Rob as Percy, James as Toby, and you. Okay, no, Aaron, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
just
not
abort.
Yeah, I'm not going into this. Who produces a Maud model? I think I can answer this. I think it's Hornby, right? It's the only ones who do it.
Well, Hornby and
they
Double O,
did.
If you want an Engage One, Tiny Underground Models on Facebook, he could do you a 3D print kit to convert a Bachmann C-Class and O gauge. I have no idea who did this one.
And because you're causing some controversy now, Dan, it's been a while since one of those moments Dan
So there was this incident about 10 years ago where I can't remember why, but we had a picture of a Freightliner container, and I thought it'd be funny to change it to say Felsted Liner, and he got in such a mood about it. It was just like, oh, come on, man. It just seemed like a funny thing to do.
King Ori says terriers ended up in Scotland. I knew panniers did, but terriers?
Yeah.
Terriers got everywhere. They infested the world.
Infested the world.
You'll be surprised what ended up in Scotland from other companies. Again, to talk about Alfweight Model Railways again, who concentrates on northeastern region. So I've had some of his like J21s, J27, that sort of thing come through the workbench. And then we recently discovered that actually a couple of J24s and such were allocated to Scotland just down the road from me. And I'm like, shit, I don't need to buy more models.
You do. Buy all of the models. We'll make them and you can buy them.
That sounds like a new tagline.
What was it, John? Do you remember that reel you sent me? Was it this morning? The man who dies with the most trains wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game on, boys. Game on. Let's go.
Wow.
Actually, Jack, how many models do you have? Because I know Johnny said he had like 100 or something.
Not certainly in locals, not anywhere near 100. Certainly not anywhere near 100. Probably somewhere in the region of, again, kind of 50 or 60 or so.
Okay.
By the time you go through like multiple iterations, like again, not to bring up, I have like two mods, one in BR, one in NB. So there's duplication in some of them, but probably around about 50 or 60.
Wow, these guys who've got like 2 mods plus, really doing us all dirty. I've got to say, it's not fair, guys. Ridiculous.
Well, Hornby,
okay, fair enough though. Yeah, absolutely. Is someone listening? Please.
It's been 5 years. It's time to bring it back. And while they're at it, do one with a Holmes cab.
Okay. Here we go. So now that we're moving on to the real power of the Highlands, I've got Aaron saying, I think Hilton will sell a 37 for Maud. To answer that question, Aaron, I would not sell a single
Not even the
one.
Vitrains one.
Yeah, hang on. He's not seen the Vitrains one yet.
I mean,
No,
surely-
we don't talk about that one.
but you told us yourself yesterday that the Vitrains one is a gap in your collection.
It's a secret. Stop it.
Yeah, it's about the same size as that gap between the body and the bogey, I believe he said.
Yes, it's massive.
Hey, boys, he's going as red as 419.
My 37 collection is very selectively picked. Okay, I'm not going to sell. To be fair, I'd maybe consider it anyway.
So which lock is the Vitrains one?
No, it's Glendarroch.
Oh, I thought you only liked them if they were locks.
No, I do, but I collect all Scottish 37s, so I'm working through them. The locks were the first step. Yeah, it is. I know. I'm aware.
That is a lot.
The 37 definitely makes up the majority of the collection at this point. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Tom says, genuine question. I'm planning a diorama set in the Highlands, and I'm so excited to hear that, Tom. That's very cool. I want a big diesel pulling wagons, late 1950s, early 1960s. What would be realistic, please?
Funnily enough, why I went for it, the Class 20 immediately for Highland lines, especially like Speyside and such. The Class 20s were pretty much synonymous with it. Make sure it's fitted with a snowplow, however. 37s came a bit later, if I'm honest. So you're probably looking at the 24s, the 2060s and 27s as well. And that'll be your sort of rough sort of diesel collection if you're going for that.
As far as I understand it, Johnny, the 37s arrived in like the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Onwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're a bit late for that period. There was some on the Central Belt. Like, funnily enough, I've seen photographs of some 37s on Dunfermline in the late 60s. But in terms of Highlands, yeah, you're talking about sort of late 70s and such.
Okay. Cool. Good answer. Thank you very much for that. Are Mauds just a currency? I mean, basically, they're like Bitcoin. Like, Maud is the Bitcoin of model railways, if you will. All right, just going through a couple of tractors. Couldn't help myself. Apologies. In response to that, Johnny.
No.
No. So the 28s
Carlisle,
were the
probably.
Western region, weren't they?
No, they all ended up on the Cumbrian coastline.
Yeah.
So as far as I understand it, 28s made it up to Tom the Fair. They did. Right?
I think that's 29s.
Oh, 29s. Okay, got
Yeah.
Got
I think it was 21s and 29s. The 28s were like Western sort of area.
Yeah. The 28s would have made it on the Condor to Glasgow originally, but they were very quickly cascaded onto the Cumbrian coast and places like that, I believe. I'll just check that one out. See if I can find a picture of one in Scotland.
Dan's just going to go into one of his books now. There we go. More coin. It's a thing. Oh, Johnny's going to get a book.
Probably.
Jack, do you want to get a book?
Going with that Bill Anderson again.
Diesels in Scotland.
There we go.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Whereabouts with the 17s? They were Scottish, right?
They
were rubbish as well.
And on fire.
Yeah. I think mainly you saw them sort of on test runs around Glasgow, and then I have seen them on the Waverley route and such. So sort of Central Belt area. But I think the reliability was that shocking you wouldn't send them any further north.
Wow. Okay, noted. These are all, by the way, provided by Dan's dad, which, thank you, Dan.
Well, that's Glenfinnan. Because you see that straight away, yeah.
With the coaches.
And now we're moving on to some Yeah, sorry. Maybe that was too soon. Moving on to some of Johnny's photography, and I think,
Oh no.
wow, okay, we are way past where we usually go. If you guys are okay, we'll keep going for another 15, 20 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want you to...
Scotland refuses to be fitted.
You can text me privately and tell me if it's not okay, because I know you're in public right now, and just be like, Hilton, I need to go to bed, please.
So I'm just going to text Hilton with a load of photographs of Mall. Give me a second.
Okay, Aaron says I would... Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, this is normally the point where Rob would put his head up and go, look what I've made in the stream. Well, look what I've made. It's really great. This is...
Because he's a pro-mate.
It's the baggy jewellery from Wales. Who did you know this is actually Welsh?
I think we lost Dan and I mean Rob and James a while ago, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're dead. They're not even in the chat anymore. It's over. The people who are here are true Scotsmen. So,
it's because Rob, he's a Philistine. That's what's going on here.
So again, I just want to talk to you both. Actually, you know what? Before we do that,
it's not that color anymore.
No. We're gonna go back 1, 2. Okay. There's an important question this evening, and I think also in the chat, King Ori, Scotland. There's an important question I need to ask you and the chat, all three of you. If there is one model that needs to be made in RTR, what is it?
What, Scottish thing?
It has to be Scottish. Obviously, that's the whole point of this. Oh, sorry. That's Scotswoman.
I mean, I have a list. Asking for one.
You have to choose. You have to choose one.
You know what? I'm going to do something which I would never buy, but there's reasoning behind my thought for it. I think a Class 385 electric multiple unit. The reason I say that is they are pretty much widespread throughout the whole Central Belt now since 2019. Any modern Scottish image modeler will be needing one. Not I would like to have one. You need one now. And that's a big gap in the modern image collection. It's not something I would ever touch. But as a bit of a selfless act here, you know, I'll raise that one for the modern image guys.
That's a fair call. I'm gonna add it to the chat now. There we go. At the stage. There you go. There's your 385. I do remember seeing these in Waverley myself. So that's a good shout, actually. It's a very good shout. It looks like you know, one of those Russian like cargo planes. Kind of like with the big nose thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it.
I'm sure Hitachi, that's exactly the aesthetic they were going for.
It's cool. It's really cool, to be fair.
Well, it does about 70% of the electric services in the Central Belt now. So if you're modeling this sort of day and age, you have to have it now, you know.
It seems like your suggestion.
Yeah, completely agree. It's a bloody sin, and if anyone ever came in my house with one, they'd be kicked out.
Okay, so Jack?
I'm not going to be selfless, and it just because why? It would, if I had to pick one off the very long list, it would probably be the Cali tank. It's the natural kind of next pairing with 828, 123 mod. It's the natural next step. It's the kind of one of many missing links, but it's one that I think would be very reasonable to fill. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. Given that it is a preserved engine and running, it's a no-brainer in many regards. Are the 380s still around? They've been dead silent since the 385s arrived.
Yeah, they got kind of cascaded, kind of like the air lines, kind of out the kind of west of Glasgow. That's their main stomping ground now.
Okay, noted. Sorry, apologies for the shift there. Dan, what about you?
Me. I could only make ridiculous suggestions because if I make it something that's too logical, you might think that my employers are making it. But honestly, totally selfish hat. Any Scottish model. I'd really like the area manager's saloon as it was for Inverness in the 70s and 80s, I believe, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Basically, it was originally the Manchester, Sheffield, and Lincolnshire Directors Saloon, then passed into the Great Central as their Directors Saloon. But its tail end of its life was in Scotland, and it's a very unique carriage. But it spans so many eras because of that. You can put it literally with your pre-grouping stuff, your LNER stuff, but also your blue diesels for your Scottish model. It would actually probably not look out of place on your model, Hilton, to be honest. It's one of the very few vehicles that I could have and you could have, like literally pretty much unaltered.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I have a 3D printed body for one, but yeah, in fact, I can go grab it if you want to see it. Do you want to see it?
Sure, just put your pants on.
Do it.
Just a reminder that the GoFundMe to get Dan pants is now live.
I love that GoFundMe has come beyond the importance of you getting a mod. You know, the chat is supporting that.
I just don't want to, do any damage to any of our viewers. That's awesome, Dan. That's really
so it had
cool.
open verandas at both ends, and that was a feature that was retained right the way through its life. But yeah, it's one of those vehicles that once you know about it, you're like, oh, I kind of need it. But until that point, it must have looked so odd at the tail end of its life, being a wooden-bodied carriage in amongst all the Mark 1s and Mark 2s, and you're just kind of like, how on earth has this survived? But it's obviously that must have just been liked by like the area manager. To be kept on. All that survives of it now is just 2 armchairs. That's it. The whole thing's gone.
Dan?
It was originally the Manchester, Sheffield, and Lincolnshire Railway Directors Saloon.
Okay.
So you go search for it. There's a couple of images online, I believe.
Mountaineer 1265. I would be shocked if the Scottish M7 didn't appear in RTR.
You've got a hope. But at the same time, I don't want it to because my wallet will be broken.
Yeah, likewise. It's not just one either.
Yeah. LNER V4, Dunrobin, NBR Atlantic. I could go on.
K4?
NBR Atlantic. K4! Please.
Yep.
God.
K4, D49. I mean, we could all go through wish lists and be hitting off not much of the same.
That D49. Not the Hornby
Central
D49.
Tender.
The other one, yeah.
There you go, Dan. I didn't know this was Heisler. This is Heisler the whole time. I didn't realize that.
It's Heisler.
Incognito.
Shoot. Where would we say here? Half an hour of overtime hilt setting a record long stream. We're having a good time here. Although Johnny needs to go to work tomorrow. So anyways, let's keep moving through some of this magnificent railway photography. I suppose we could talk a little bit about the SRPS and your guys' involvement with it over time. I know there's a photo of Jack somewhere here. But
let's show off Jack.
Yeah. Let's get to Jack. Hold on.
We can talk about the SRPS. We've already done that.
So
let's spend 5 minutes critiquing Jack.
I do have an important
there he
question.
is.
Yeah, there we are.
I do have an important SRPS question actually that is model related, and that is after the tragic fire, what is the status of the model railway?
Right, yeah. No, sorry, yeah. Funnily enough, I did mention to one of their guys this week that it was ScotRail. Go and post some stuff on social media. No, so Glennon, the layout is back up running fine. It was mainly the sort of fiddle yard, area, the operating area that was impacted. The actual sort of front of house bit was just more sort of damage and water damage to the back scenes and such. But
So,
no,
the
it's
important question: did the 7mm model of Maud survive?
I believe it did, but I would have to get back to you on that one.
We need to know. Can you, when you're down there next, can you find out? And if it has survived, please post photo evidence in your story so we can all rejoice
Hang on, Tuesday.
that it survived.
There you go. Some manufacturers gotta have a Scottish model idea after the Scotch Rail week. Completely agree. I think we've provided enough inspiration. You guys have been so busy this week.
That's such a
on
beautiful blue
Scotch Rail
tank
stuff.
engine.
It is.
Yeah,
It would be
it would be such a
a real
shame if
treat
someone
if somebody
repainted
made
it. It's a shame if someone repainted it into another color.
I'll say something which will maybe trigger some people. It's the wrong shade of blue.
Yeah, it is a bit light, isn't
It
it?
always looks better in the darker blue. Oh,
Yeah.
admittedly, the last ticket it was too dark, but
I've definitely noticed that. It was like a wee too light.
yeah.
Anyways, there's Jack standing in his tweed suit, looking really period correct in this photo. I
Yeah.
absolutely love this photo.
It's one that I look back fondly on from doing those. She's been as kind of context for everyone else. Basically, anytime Johnny does and Andrew Fowler or either of them organise some sort of a photo shoot in at Bowness, I generally get a message at some point going, "Can you come down and stand in the night shoots?" And get directed.
Do you want to play dress up again?
that's pretty much it.
And you're like, absolutely, yes, I will be there.
Generally, yeah, because I mean, it's enjoyable when you kind of get clear directions as to where to stand, whose eyes to look into. Taylor and I have had a couple of kind of shots where it's kind of we've had to hold because because the camera's like you have to hold the position for minutes so that everyone can get their shots. Multiple people can get their shots. So it's challenging in kind of that respect of kind of keeping still, but when you get shots like that, it makes it all worthwhile, really. And the fact that at Bonus we can get shots like that, with the old Haymarket train shed and so on, it's extremely atmospheric.
Yeah, it's very evocative. I mean, do you feel this might sound like a daft question because the answer is probably yes, but like, do you feel like you've gone back in time in a moment like that because it looks so like I don't know, it's evocative,
Yeah, I would say so. When you get a shot like that, or kind of look at a shot like that, particularly one that in my case that I'm in, yeah, it's entirely convincing that it could be somewhere. I mean, I think this photo actually appeared in Trackside, if I remember rightly, not too long ago. The piece they did, kind of looking at kind of pre-grouping railways, like going north to south over the course of a day, and one of it, the caption was somewhere in the central Scotland, a fellow traveller starts the day, and that's kind of what it looks like. So when you can get a photo like that, and as well, when others can get a photo like that and take it away with and think, no, that if one shot of a night shoot, the one that kind of the light really go back to, it's absolutely worth it, and I enjoy doing it, and you get some positivity, particularly when people are coming up to us and go, thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
I have to say, I love the positive spin you put on it, Jack, because all I remember from Lee's is the stress.
Yeah.
And Lee's, funnily enough, Lee's night's exactly the Cali reunion because we done 4 days of photo charters on the trot with 4 night shoots as well. Bear in mind, I had been helping with the gala and more so a bit of maintenance on 828 the weekend before. I was absolutely knackered. And I think by the end of the 3rd night, nobody would come and talk to me at that point because I would just snap if I said one thing wrong.
I guess the one thing about this picture is it's setting off my OCD in the sense that I
my
can't see the shunt signal that's in front of 419. So
Yeah,
is
no,
there
exactly,
a signal there? Is there a
Yep,
signal
there's-
there to protect 828?
No,
Oh,
this was
yeah.
all just, yep,
Under possession. Right.
under possession. That was all. Yep.
All credibility is just gone. Thanks.
Sorry, Dan. I'll go and repeat it. Let's go and repaint the Cali
Right,
tank.
that's it. I'm going to ring the
God.
ORR. When did you do this?
Dan.
I bet there isn't even central door locking on those carriages.
Oh, hold on a second now. Whoa. Don't throw accusations like that around.
You say that, but Jack's perspective will be a load of photographers taking a photo of him.
And
Good
he
man,
loves
Jack,
the
honestly.
attention.
Honestly,
He
good
loves
man.
it.
I am
You
a
look the part.
background. I am a background actor. The main actors are the colourful things belching steam. They're not. It's not for me. It's for the stars.
I beg to disagree, because I do think that your presence there, especially in that suit, makes it just come together. So
Notice that he's being modest on the stream. He is a diva in real life. He demanded his own dressing room. He got the waiting room to change in, and the list of demands. He will only eat green M&Ms.
Not even the purple ones.
No.
Lies and falsehoods. Attacks on my character.
I will not accept these attacks on my character.
Oh, he's brilliant. Brilliant.
No, it looks like you guys have an absolute blast. Okay, so coming back to this.
It seems so odd seeing it with the Caledonian coaches, because in my head, I always picture it at Bowness with those Continental coaches that it used to run with way back in the day.
Yeah, the ones that are now the model. The
oh, is that what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Norwegian coaches, yeah.
Yeah. And it was in Cali Black in those days as well, I believe.
It was for a long time ago, but I don't think it. Yeah.
The Cali Black was literally only for about a year, because it was going away to Bluebell and they had no time to paint it. After that, it was in what they call what the art thing was Cali Blue, but it was a very, very dark shade of it. If you have a look at the shade that 419 was last in and compare it to what 828 is in now, they're miles apart. But with the latest sort of round of research and such, the shade that 828 is in is probably classed as the closest we'll probably get to Caledonian dark blue. So I think that's the sort of shade to go with onwards.
Nice.
Okay,
nice.
Makes sense. I had to include this. Just
Highlands.
Yeah, I had to. We are going to start wrapping things up here, guys. Johnny has Scottish people to take somewhere tomorrow morning, and I'm sure Jack has some CAD design that he needs to work on. So if you have any last questions for Jack or Johnny, please do drop them in the comments. I see that people are slowly going to bed. We've had a really good actually amount of people watching throughout the night, which I'm really happy by. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to both of you two for joining us this evening. It's been a real pleasure to have two guys that are as knowledgeable and as involved as you two in the stream. And I think that with ScotchRail, it's going from strength to strength every year. Very happy to have been involved with you guys this year, and looking forward to seeing what you're doing next year. But yeah, thank you guys. I don't know.
Thanks for having us, firstly, and I mean, second as well. Thanks for you guys getting on board and getting involved this year as well, because it's very much not just about me and Jack and our input to it. It's sort of the whole communities, not just model wise, but heritage railways, real railways, that sort of thing, because it's just meant to be a celebration of Scottish railways for a week.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely, as we said at the top of the stream, it's something that, looking to next year, we would like to grow it more. We want people like yourselves to be involved, particularly as we if we want to grow this and make it kind of a bit bigger and do a bit more with it. We're going to need more than just Johnny and I's kind of hands and attention on it. So, as we'll start to formulate the plans for next year, we would want you to be involved, help us curate content, all that sort of stuff. So there's room for this to grow. We've seen it can grow this year. We need to continue that.
Absolutely. No, it's very cool, guys. And I think any of you guys in the chat that remain, all 18 of you that seem to be still here at this very late hour, if you guys have anything Scottish Railway related, please post it and use the hashtag ScotchRail. That is not ScotRail, ScotchRail. And I know Johnny and Jack are keeping a very close eye on those hashtags, and they'll be sharing that stuff as soon as they see it.
I keep an eye on hashtags as well, because someone misspelt Maud today in their hashtag.
Ooh.
Oh, was that me?
No.
Was it
It was me, thank God.
Wasn't Jack.
Was it me?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah.
God. I don't deserve a Maud, even if
I
I
honestly thought I was about to lose my mod membership club card.
I was going to say, I was having a minor heart palpitations at that thought.
Yeah.
It was at that
Oh,
moment
God.
that they all realised that the reason Hilt hasn't got a Maud is he doesn't know how to spell it.
I'm going to quit YouTube and leave Instagram. I'm done. I'm
It's fine. You have no idea what you're doing.
Okay, there's a couple last comments. I think just general feelings. Brilliant evening. Are the best. I think that's how you say it.
The best.
Are the best. Cheers, gents. What I saw, I enjoyed. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed your beers, Tom. Bill says, great stream, guys. Many thanks to all. Though the stream is 45 minutes over length, I honestly love the stream. It's been really great.
In other news, because it was 45 minutes longer this week, next week it's only going to be an hour and a quarter. And we're just going to go
No, we're cutting it way down. Way down.
We'll just cut it down and Aaron can cry himself into his working day.
Tom says, I've been working on my secret project while watching the stream. I'm very curious, and I hope it's Scottish, Tom, and not... You know what? If it is a Thomas project, I won't be mad at you. It's fine.
Donald and Douglas. There you go.
Donald and Douglas. There you go. That makes sense. It'll just be a loco on a plain baseball, and if I find one, maybe next year if I have Scenics then. Make Laurie's episode 10 minutes long. So we do have Laurie coming up on the stream in the future. So noted. We'll see. All right, guys. Final roundup. Johnny, where can people find you on social?
So on social media, I'm on Instagram. I'm the 62C Workbench. Other than that, you can find me on Flickr under the name Jonathan AG. That's for my real photographs. And as the missus said, if you wander around Waverley tomorrow, you'll find me there.
Jack, what about you?
Again, on Instagram, I think it's pretty much somewhere in the name description there, at TheJacobite on Instagram. Likewise, also on Flickr, search for Jack Goodall, you'll probably find me. And you will not find me at Waverley tomorrow because I will be working from home.
I love that for you. I'm genuinely jealous. Dan, what about you, bud?
You can find me on here, Pedantic Mongrels Railway Channel, and you can find me on Instagram for Pedantic Mongrels 00 model projects and Pedantic Mongrels Engage model projects, depending on which scale you prefer, spoilt brat gauge or strain your eyes gauge. On my YouTube, there is a link to a link tree with all of my links to all of my railway related socials. So yeah, that might make it easier. Awesome. How about you? Where can we find you, Hilton?
Oh, good old Proper Chuffed.
Proper Chuffed.
I'm on Instagram and YouTube as Proper Chuffed. And I think with that, if there's any final thoughts from anyone, I just want to say thank you to the chat and to our moderator, Phil, as always, for doing a
also,
evening.
I need to say one thing because of what Aaron's just said. Don't be a manus.
Don't be a manus, Danny.
Don't be a manus. Yeah, we can speak New Zealand. It's fine.
Guys, thank you very much. And again, if you have any model railway or just Scotland railway related stuff, please post it on Instagram under ScotchRail. All the support for these guys this week would be appreciated. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. I think we got a lot to unpack, and we'll probably still we'll bring these two back again because I think we've got more Scottish stuff to talk about at some point. But guys, thank you again so much for joining us and making time. I really do appreciate it. And I know for a fact that Johnny will wake up fresh tomorrow and be able to take passengers wherever they need to go at a right rate.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Ciao, guys. Bye.
Bye.